Good evening and welcome everybody to the second play day of the Latin American Pro League. My name is Sean Bloodbath Rosenbaum, and here is Kickstar with us to join us for the night. Kicks, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Blood. I'm excited to see Brazil play today.
Awesome. Yeah, so last night, not last night, it was actually Saturday night, is when we had the previous play day of the Latin American scene, kicking it off here, and it was quite a show. I know you weren't here to join us, but you're back now, all good and healthy, so that's good to have us. But with that, one of the things that drew out from last week or from the last play day was Nox Gaming going every single bomb site on Bank.
Yeah, Nox Gaming is one of those teams that, as you know, they tend to go to the newer spots. They try to invent new strategies for each and every bomb site, and it's really cool to see something like that coming forward in the Pro League, especially when we're so refined in the way that we play out our meta in each and every one of the different scenes. So it was a nice try by Nox, but I think they did end up...
They did, and they were defeated by Santos on Bank, as I think their only sites that they won were the top 4 sites, which ironically enough is one of the sites that many teams see as unfavorable.
Yeah, on Bank, you know, when you go top floor, you're so exposed to anyone sitting on top of garage, usually. So it's not preferred for most teams.
Yeah. But speaking of our games, we went through Saturday. We've got some games tonight, so let's take a look at the bracket structure. We are going to be going through Group B today. Now, we started off with Group A on Saturday. Group B is what we're going to be witnessing today. It's going to be starting off with Black Dragons and INTZ, and then Pain Gaming and OPK.
Yeah, Black Dragons and INTZ. So INTZ is an Xbox team turned PC team for the most part. I mean, one of their players is from PC. Black Dragons, on the other hand, is what previously known as V3. They played at the last season's finals, and they did a very good job. I think they got into the semifinals.
Yep. Yeah, they did get into the semifinals, I think, to play Penta.
Yeah, and they've been picked up by the Black Dragons organization, so that's them there.
Now, talking about our four teams, our 2 matches today, what I've been noticing throughout the early on week of the Pro League has been we've been seeing the stretch of meta. We saw yesterday in North America, we saw the Bar and Gaming Room on Chalet talking about Nox Gaming. They're extending the use of different bomb sites. It seems like that might be a new trend here that we'll be seeing in the Pro League.
Well, you get to the point sooner or later where you've refined each and every bomb site to the point at which that it becomes a science, and you can realize that, oh, wait a minute, hey, if we just go over here, we could just invent our own new thing and start working from the ground up. And that's one of the great things about Siege is its versatility. So I think that the option to go to every other bomb site being explored by all these different teams is very interesting indeed.
Agreed. And so we just got to look at Group B. Let's take a look at Group A to see what happened during last Saturday. Now, Group A, we started off watching BRK Esports take on Merciless Gaming. Merciless is one of the teams that came out of the Challenger League, and BRK Esports took home the win there 2-0. Now, that was BRK Esports, for those of you that are not familiar with that organization. They were formerly known as the Black Dragons organization that played in Season 1, went on to fight Penta in the LAN Grand Finals.
Yeah, and they're that squad that has Nesk on it. Everyone talks about Nesk. He's a fantastic player. The team, the way it functions is it pivots a lot around him as an individual to assist him in getting those kills and making it happen. On the other side of the fence, though, we have Dexterity versus Nox. Dexterity managed to walk away with a 2-0 victory over Nox Gaming. And yeah, Dexterity is one of those squads. They've been around for a pretty long time. They've been together. I think they have 2 new players on their roster, apart from what they've had 3 consistent players throughout their entire history.
Yeah, and Santos Dexterity was the team that made it to the 6th Invitational last February. But also, like, just recollecting ourselves on the matchup on Saturday between Nox and Santos, we saw Astro do some tremendous work there fragging. I remember he got 4K one round, the next round 3K, next round after that 3K, and that was on border. I just kept remembering thinking, we got to keep an eye on him. So once we get to see him play again, that's definitely going to be something we want to keep on looking at. But we do have the schedule for you guys tonight. So we're going to take a look at what games we're going to be witnessing first, what's second, and where to go from there. So kicking it off here tonight at 11 o'clock Central European Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, it's going to be Black Dragons versus INTZ. And then we'll move on to our second best-of-3 series for the evening, OPK versus Pain Gaming.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, all these matchups are going to be extremely interesting to look at. Black Dragons versus INTZ to start things off here. I mean, you know, changing organizations doesn't necessarily alter the formula of a team, but we have to question if they're going to be, if Black Dragons is going to be the same that we saw from V3 at the finals, if they're going to perform up to that standard that we hold them to.
Yeah, and one of the things, like you talked about, okay, so changing an organization doesn't necessarily change the strategies of that team or the makeup of that team.
Right.
have you ever experienced, because during your pro league teams or your pro league season, you've changed organizations. You've been on Orbit. You were on before that, Lost in Translation.
Multiple different
teams. Yeah.
organizations.
Have you ever seen where an organization has taken over and then decided we want to push our strategies onto you? Like, do they come with a playbook at all,
No.
or do they leave it up to the players?
I don't know of a single organization that's going to pick up a squad and be like, hey, we like what you do, so we're going to pick you up, but then
Yeah.
we're also going to
Gonna
change
change
your
it.
strategy because that's what
Yeah.
we do. We invade and change your strategy. So
Mhm.
I don't think that's what anyone within their right mind is going to be doing. And if there is an esports org out there that does that, it's probably not very successful. I mean, I can't imagine that going well. I mean, the reason you pick up a team is because you have faith in them. You know, you want them to succeed, or
Yep.
you believe they can succeed. Why change that formula?
Yeah, gotcha. So with that is the games that we're going to be witnessing tonight. Thinking about Black Dragons, which again were formerly V3. What do you recall about that team? Oh, we've got our lineups here. So Black Dragons is going to be our lineups for the night. We've got Psycho, Kamikaze, Nex, PZD, and Ty.
Yeah, and this is the V3 lineup that we saw play in the previous season, and they're a pretty slow-paced squad, or slow-paced squad. I say slow-paced compared to some of the other teams coming out of their region. They tend to be a little bit more slow tactical, and we saw that come through in their play at the finals last season. So I was really curious to see if they're going to be able to continue that trend moving into this particular matchup, going up against INTZ now. It's going to be definitely a different match for them to handle. Of course, I'm sure they're well practiced at playing against.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure that they're scrim buddies, or at least they're familiar with each other's play
Right.
style. But thinking about Black Dragons again being V3 from season 1, what were some of the things that you recall them doing very well that got them into the semifinals?
Just their slow tactical play. I think it's just a little bit different than what we're used to seeing coming out of Brazil. And I think it works to their advantage. Sometimes you see, it's like comparing North America to the European meta, right? Sometimes you'll see a European team do so well against a North American team because that European team tends to be pacing itself just a slightly bit more tactically, like waiting, holding the angle, and expecting someone to peek into them. But the way that the pacing in this game has developed is adapted and changed so much at this point that I think we could see something totally different coming out today.
I mean, we've talked about it numerous times, how in the past we've always had this stereotype or this expectation that Brazil and the Latin American scene was always a very gun-heavy, run-and-gun sort of thing, and we were totally proven wrong during the LAN finals.
We see that. Don't get me wrong.
We see that potential, but yeah.
But it's not coming through in each and every matchup. More often than not, we see a very tactical, consolidated, and calculated play coming out of the majority of the Brazilian teams, especially BRK and Black Dragons, which were the two teams we saw play at last season's finals.
Now let's take a look at our roster for INTZ. That's going to be the team going up against Black Dragons today. Who do we have here?
Silence, GCR, Lend4, Ninja, and FK. Now, again, I would like to remind everybody we do not have any statistics here for you today because all of the stats that are going to be coming up for these boards here are accumulated throughout the season, and this is INTZ's first day playing in this Pro League season.
Yeah, and I believe INTZ is one of the teams that may have come from the Challenger League, just like we saw on Saturday, Merciless Gaming. So, again, they're going up against the second place team, Black Dragons, from Season 1.
Yeah, and I mean, going up against a fearsome squad like that, I mean, I actually think VFU got eliminated in the semifinals, but going up against a team like that all the same, the team that made it to the semifinals of the last season, that's still really impressive.
No, second place out of the Latin American region.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is going to be the lineup that we have here for INTZ. And thinking about these two teams and thinking about what we've seen previously from the Latin American scene, as well as just all around Rainbow Six scene, with the 9 maps that we've got underway, it seems like we might be seeing some bank. We saw it here in the Latin American scene. I'm curious to see if we might be spotting out some more DLC maps. Border was a pick that we saw on Saturday.
Border's going to be picked. I mean, everybody likes Border. It's a good map, well-rounded. Lots of teams have abundant amount of strategy on that particular map, whether it be in the tellers, customs, armory, or ventilation. I mean, there's options abound there. I mean, it would have been interesting to see Nox play on it. I'm sure, like, if you could bring it to every different site. But all the same, Border's a good map. As far as the other DLC maps go, there's a lot of teams that aren't bringing us to these maps because they don't really want to risk it for the biscuit. I mean, with the way that you look at the way the Pro League is structured right now, there's you only have so many chances to lose. You
Yeah.
know, you need to bring it to every one of the maps that you are the most proficient in, the most familiar in. And when you're bringing it to a map like Skyscraper or Coastline, you could sometimes be like, okay, well, I'm not sure that we're ready for this. And
Yeah.
the dilemma with practicing one of those maps just openly is that then every team is going to find out one way or another that you're a team that plays Coastline. You're a team that wants to bring the other guys to Coastline, so they're just going to ban it. And so it adds a little bit of an extra layer to the cake, is that you have a lot of things you have to consider as a squad going into your ban phase when it comes to those newer maps.
So we talked about yesterday how the core meta that's been happening here, or the deciding factor in a strategy, has been the roaming game for a defender. And so what I want to ask is, of the 9 maps here, seeing as how we haven't seen INTZ ever play before, Black Dragons, they've got probably some new people on their roster, and they're here for the first time this season, obviously. What maps tend to lead to the best roaming games that we've seen, of the 9 that are available?
Well, there's a lot to talk about there when it comes to the best roaming game. I'm not really sure. The most required roaming game, we could talk about a map like Chalet. On Chalet, if you lose upstairs control, sometimes it can be really difficult to hold no matter what site you're holding. If you're holding bar in gaming room, however, we have seen that being disproven in that you can pretty easily hold that site by simply anchoring everybody on the site and above, if you count above as a roam game, and I personally don't. I think you need to maintain it for control of the site itself.
Yep.
Chalet's up there for the 2 typical bomb sites in that basement and that kitchen trophy as being a map that you need to maintain control, at least some amount of control as a roamer, and apply some amount of pressure. Otherwise, you're putting your team at severe risk. And we see that play happen yesterday in our European matches, where sometimes there'd be a roamer playing deep in Library, for example, while his team's defending Kitchen Trophy. They all get taken out one by one, and then he starts to come back. And forgive me, not European, North American, but he starts to come back, and there's just not enough opportunities for him to get the refrags because he's waited too long. So the roam game on Chalet, super important. The roam game on a map like Bank is a little bit more, open to interpretation, I suppose. I mean, there's a lot of choices there.
There is. Oftentimes, though, we at least do see 1 or 2 roamers, sometimes in the open area or upstairs all the way. I mean, it seems like... so what I was getting at there with trying to bring the roam game back into the conversation is that we've seen time and time again the Latin American teams have wanted, or that they have these, you called it before, the pocket aggression, to go after those roamers. And that's what we've been seeing constantly.
And what I was really about to say on Bank is that sometimes when we see Bank played, we will see a Jackal come out for the attackers because... while he's not the most amazing operator overall, he fulfills a very specific role. And that role is extremely useful when going onto a map like Bank, where there's so much space to spread out.
So we are going to take a look at the top 5 picked attack operators here coming out of the Latin American scene. Now, this is a bit of a different surprise, we'll see, than what we saw from the North American scene yesterday.
Yeah, it is slightly different. We don't see any 100% coming out here. Ash, Hibana, and Thermite seeing a pretty similar pick rate overall. Twitch and Sledge coming up close seconds, I suppose. Well, second and third. And again, we've talked about this time and time again, but with these top operator picks, the one trend that we often see play through and most consistently through, whether it be through defense, offense, Europe, North America, or Brazil, it is the 3-speed meta. It is so accumulated now into the way the game is played, is that people like to bring those 3 speeds to the field, and there you can see it on the Ash and Hibana being the top 2 picked operators on attack. Of course, they bring other things to the board, apart from simply being 3 speeds with fantastic guns, but that's kind of the core concept.
Yeah, what I've mainly seen, at least from last Saturday, was that Hibana and Thermite were almost picked sequentially or picked synchronously together on every single attack phase that they were chosen on. So there weren't many times where you had a Hibana and not a Thermite. There weren't many times you had a Thermite and not a Hibana. They seemed to have a lot of both of them together to make sure they had all the necessary destructibility that they needed.
Oftentimes you can see a mindset invade any particular scene, whether it be Brazil, Europe, or North America. And in this case, it's likely that the Brazilians are on the sort of on the mindset of, we need to have as much ability to destroy reinforced walls as possible. And as there are only 2 operators that can fulfill that ability, Hibana and Thermite, that's what we see coming through here for Brazil. And it makes a lot of sense. Like, if you really think about it, that is a good mindset to have all that versatility and options moving into your rounds. Like, for example, if you're bringing just a Thermite and your Thatcher misses a grenade, or you just place one of the, it gets bandit charged somehow, one of your Thermite charges, maybe it gets shot, who knows, or you lose your Thermite, then your team is at a severe disadvantage. Their options have been cut in half. So having a Hibana and a Thermite moving into each and every attack round is, I mean, it's a really good idea.
It's a good failsafe, a good contingency plan, we'll say, in case the worst happens, where one of your breachers dies. But one of the things you had mentioned yesterday was about the effectiveness and the increase in pick rate of Twitch. Twitch was 4th on the list there.
Yeah, Twitch has been seen used quite a lot more, especially apparently in the Latin American scene, because you have that Twitch drone. And yeah, sure, you have 2 now, which you got buffed a while back. But aside from just the Twitch drone's usefulness by itself for destroying ADS, batteries, mute charges, what have you, it's also especially useful now that Mira has been added to the game, because opening up one of those Mira windows can not only be detrimental to the defenders, but can pick apart their hold one by one. Here you can see, on that note, the defenders' top 5 picked out of Latin America: Smoke, Jaeger, Valkyrie, Mira, and Bandit. And there's that Mira coming through again with that new meta. Her addition into the field really does open up a lot of doors for the defenders.
Yeah, now the only change between this and the North American that we've seen was, I believe, we saw Pulse on the radar, and I want to say Valkyrie or Bandit was taken off.
Yeah, Pulse being put on there is because 3-speed meta. Again, you got to have that speed going on there. I'm pretty sure it was the Valkyrie, although I'm not entirely 100%, I don't recall. All the same, Smoke, Jaeger, making a lot of sense. Having those gas canisters, Jaeger making even more sense as he has the only rifle on defense. He's got the barbed wire to mount up on it. Then the 3-speed. What's not to love about him? Even to top things all, to top it all off, he's got his gadget to stop those grenades. Valkyrie, lots of information gathering, as well as Mira fulfilling a similar role, but in a slightly more indestructible sort of sense, in that you have to be behind the mirror to stop it from gathering information on you. Bandit, again, 3-speed, good gun. Barbed wire, why not?
Yeah, and the Bandit batteries that he's got are basically to help with mirror windows. Those, like, typically that's the primary device used to help make sure that that window doesn't get destroyed open.
Right.
But I mean, so we've talked constantly about Smoke, about Jaeger. Valkyrie's one of those operators that was picked very early on when she got released in Dustline a year ago. Moved in, she's never really not seen play. She's kind of one of those middle tier operators that's always been picked. She's starting to make a comeback here with having even more of a pick rate here in the Latin American scene. Why do you feel that we're starting to see more Valkyrie than we've previously seen before? Or do you think we have?
No, I think the Valkyrie selection has been pretty consistent throughout all of the pro leagues. I think, like you said, she's not, I wouldn't say she's a middle tier operator. She'd say she's definitely top tier, and that's why we see her in the top 5. But what I would say about Valkyrie is that she fulfills a very specific role that no other operator can really do. Yes, okay, you have information gathering from Mira, you have that Echo drone, there's obviously other choices for direct just information gathering. However, she can put her cameras in certain positions that nobody else really can, and if you get the right cameras, often it will put you at such an advantage as a defending squad. I mean, why are we not bringing Valkyrie to the field?
So, ladies and gents, those are our top 5 picked defenders. We're going to get underway with the map bans momentarily. Talking about the map bans, and I mean, we talked a little about it briefly before. We went, okay, here are some of the most influential maps with their roam game, where you said Chalet. We talked a little bit about Bank. We don't necessarily see Coastline or Skyscraper getting picked. With regards to some of the core maps we have seen, Cafe, Oregon, Border, what do you see being, I'll say, the most prominent type of roam that we've seen on Oregon? We'll just pick a map, Oregon.
Well, the thing about the roam game on Oregon is that it is so easily cut off. When you're defending basement on Oregon, the entire west side of the building doesn't have a basement. There's no 3rd floor. It's just 2 floors, which means any of the roamers playing on the west side of the building get cut off if the attackers deem it so. If they do what you're talking about, pocket aggression, just let's get the roamers, and if there's someone in the west side of the building, they're either dead, dying, or they're wasting some time, luckily. I mean, it's a really difficult job to roam on Oregon, especially west side. Whereas if you're talking about in Meeting Hall and Tower, you can, in theory, roam in those. I say. But it's more like just an upstairs hold, like what we were talking about earlier with game room bar defense on Chalet. If you're going to play in that defense, you are going to hold in library. That kind of goes without saying. So I think on a map like Oregon, you don't see nearly as much roam game as you would in some others. If you're talking about a upstairs defense, there's a slightly more roaming, but in that if you can pressure the B windows from the tower, but I don't know. It's not as prominent as a map like Chalet where you absolutely have to have your roamers influence the round.
So we are going to move into our map ban phase right now, starting off with INTZ. INTZ is going to be the team that bans first. And, I mean, with INTZ and Black Dragons both banning back and forth, I want to say that the team that I feel is going to be more reluctant to pick those DLC maps, to go on the charade of going with Skyscraper, possibly Coast, I would say it would be Black Dragons. The reason I say that is because they have been around long. You mentioned that before, and we've seen from the teams that have been around longer, such as like the Sisu in Europe. We've seen the VG and the flip sides of North America. We've seen them decide, okay, we're more comfortable on these older maps.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're more comfortable, and there's Coastline being banned out by Black Dragons there. Bank follow-up ban from INTZ. I wouldn't say they're necessarily more, I mean, they, as a team, sure, they're more comfortable in that. But I would say, I think that the thought process that's going through them isn't like, oh, we're more comfortable here. It's that we have a significant advantage here because we've been playing this map for so much longer.
Yep.
So the older teams, obviously, yeah, they're going to want to go to the older maps. Skyscraper being banned out by INTZ, so neither of these teams wanting to bring it to the hard DLC maps. I say hard DLC maps. I'm excluding Border because Border is kind of like, I mean, it's been accepted.
It's been a year.
It's been accepted into the main map pool. Everybody loves Border. It's a good map.
Now we do have Clubhouse getting banned out from Black Dragons and Consulate being taken out by INTZ, which means we still have Border, Chalet, Cafe, and Oregon left alive.
I'd say we're going to see there's a Cafe ban coming out from Black Dragons. That's going to put us with Border, Chalet, and Oregon, 3 really good maps. I think we might see Oregon be our 3rd map. However, it's entirely, I'm not 100% sure about either of these teams' map preferences, so it could go either way, to be honest. But of the two maps that we see more prominently played in the Pro League overall are probably Border and Chalet.
So let's take a look at those last 3 picks to decide which one INTZ is going to choose. Which one, actually, we might be getting right into game here momentarily. We had the map picks a little bit later than we expected, but here we are. Let's take a look at what INTZ and Black Dragons are going to choose. I want to say we're going to see Oregon first here momentarily. But Oregon, we'll get right away here. Yes, Oregon's going to be chosen. Black Dragons is going to choose another map in just a second, and then we will get underway in the game as the operator selections have already begun.
So the Oregon as a map, which is what we're going to be seeing first, is a little bit more loose. I mean, I talked about earlier, it's like the roam game isn't as influential, but it's a different kind of roam game. It's a lot more proximity based, a lot less let's try and maintain waste some time as a roamer. Border going to be our 2nd map, and then Chalet will be our decider map. So we're getting right into it, I think, with INTZ going to be starting us off on Oregon.
So here we are now, again, bottom bomb site is where INTZ is going to choose to go to start it off. We've got that Mira, Jaeger, Bandit, Valkyrie, and Smoke. Again, those are the top 5 operator picks that we just saw earlier.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense that we'll be seeing it here played by INTZ to start things off. We are having a Blackbeard come out for Black Dragons, and again, very sensible pick there. We've been seeing Blackbeard played a whole lot more. Not in the top 5, mind you, but we have been seeing him come into the meta quite a lot more in each and every one of the different scenes, whether it be the Brazilian scene, North American scene, or the European scene. As the Glaznerf kind of you need an operator on attack who can effectively make hard pushes into angles that a defender is holding. You can see here the west side clear coming out from Black Dragons. They're just looking for those roamers. You have a couple players droning and a couple players clearing actively. They are going to probably spot out anyone on the defensive squad if they are hiding on this west side.
Now we do see PCD working his way into the kitchen. He's got a drone in front of him, clearing out the closet, moving in towards the classroom. Psycho's going to be droning out from the front streets parking or spawn point. But we do have inside of the meeting hall, we've got a Jaeger, and that's going to be FK.
Yeah, so again, that's not, you could call it a roam game playing inside meeting hall, but really it's just, it's more like just an upstairs hold for the downstairs site. And I think that, Silence might get a little too aggressive here on a 9XT. He's playing with fire, but he is actually going to get, actually the Blackbeard's going to get taken out by Ninja all the way over from tower. That's a nice angle from that tower window all the way into the top of meeting hall stairs window. Pick off that Blackbeard early. That's a lot of HP off the board.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we saw that Valkyrie King get thrown out for. Had a perfect line of sight down into the window. Gave him the perfect time to do that. Now FK will jump up into the attic, put a couple pop shots into the wall that just got blown open, and he decides to hop on back downstairs.
And you can see here, Black Dragons, they're trying to clear out INTZ who are playing inside this meeting hall. They have established control over attic, and now the pressure is on FK1, but he hits the shot. That was an impressive kill there from FK1 to keep his team in the lead here and maintain control, more importantly, over meeting, but he gets traded out by PZD.
Yeah, so PZD originally did come from the kitchen, moved on over, and was able to finish him off. 4 on 3 now with 50 seconds left to go. It seems as though they're doing a fairly decent job of trying, we're seeing Black Dragons do a fairly decent job of trying to get these roamers out, but they still have one
Bandit
left.
Oh, the Bandit's going to opt to fall back to the stairs instead of holding in that meeting hall. They did significantly waste a lot of time to start things off here with only 32 seconds and a 3 versus 4. There aren't a lot of options for Black Dragons, even though they've established control over meeting hall.
And we are going to see these flashbangs go down from PZD. He's going to toss out another one, and his third one most likely going to happen momentarily, but it's going to rush on into the right side, inside of the B side. Now, he doesn't spot Valkyrie inside a box, so he's going to turn to the right, and we're going to see Valkyrie possibly coming from underneath, but he will pick off 1 kill on the Lend before he gets taken out by Silence. Then we're going to have Ty finish off Ninja at a 2-on-1. 5 seconds left to go, and Thermite will fall from GCR, and round 1 will go to INTZ.
A good round there from INTZ to lock out that first one, get them started on a nice foot. I think that when we saw Black Dragons try to contest that meeting hall control, it just was too unsuccessful. They ended up not being able to refrag each other, instead coming into the roam game one by one, and at some point they just became such a deficit that the round was basically over. Plus they wasted a ton of time trying to apply that pressure onto the Jaeger.
They did, and so they wasted a lot of time on that. They also let the Valkyrie get the upper hand on the kill on Blackbeard, who was covering the top of the stairs. Ultimately, it was well done by INTZ on that defensive hold.
Yeah, and now Black Dragons are going to be going down into the basement, similar to what we were seeing INTZ do earlier. Both of these teams seeming to prefer that downstairs bomb site. We are not seeing a Hibana coming out from INTZ, so they are going to be straying a little bit from the meta there. But other than that, a pretty similar lineup to what we're used to. You can see there Thai. He's right now upstairs in the west side of the building, reinforcing a wall in Kid's room. He's likely to put a mirror window on that. We're going to be curious. It's going to be curious to see if they have, or if Black Dragons has somebody roam in that big Kids with that mirror window.
Taking a look here. Every single member from Black Dragons is off-site at the moment.
Here we go. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a hard roam game coming out from Black Dragons, and this has worked before for multiple different teams. I mean, it's a good strategy. It's also a very bold strategy at the same time. It relies on each and every one of the different cogs of your players being able to fulfill their own role, because when you have 5 people on site, all they really need to do is trade each other back. But when you have one player roaming over here, one over there, one over there, then you need these players to at least get a kill or waste 40 seconds. They need to fulfill something without getting simply picked off, because if they do just get picked off, that gives the attackers an extremely significant advantage. Now, INTZ are going to be starting their clear from the west side of the building over to the east, and this is, again, what we so commonly see on Oregon to start things off on a basement attack.
Yeah, and you had talked about that pocket aggression, and I feel as though that works if you can narrow down 1 or 2 roamers. But when you're going up against 4, that makes it much more difficult.
Well, the thing, again, is that these 4 roamers are pretty spread out. Yes, there's a lot of them, and they are going to start things off by picking off FK1 with this nice angle from PZD down into the hallway underneath him. Like that very much, PZD. And that's a big operator off the board, too. FK1 on that Ash. That's good. Ooh, he might get the... Oh, he sees
grab
the
the kill there on the GCR, and he will go down. A wonderful placement here by PZD. At first, I was questioning Smoke being up here so far off site when he is so valuable for that front lobby push. But he's making it work here for him. It's a wonderful thing to see.
Well, we talked about it before, and Smoke is one of those most versatile operators in the entire game. He has a lot of options abound. Oh, this C4 doesn't look like it's going to get anyone from Kamikaze, but it doesn't really matter. Again, a 5 versus 3 here, and INTZ are the ones put in the pressure position. The nice shot from Kamikaze onto Ninja's going to put it into a 5 versus 2. Only a Thatcher and a Thermite, and the Thermite's getting picked off.
Now, last but not least, going to be Lend. He has been spotted out. You've got 2 members from Black Dragons just pushing on out. Going to finish off the round in a strong suit. And now we see Black Dragons taking a flawless lead to INTZ.
That was a definitive victory there from Black Dragons. You could see they were playing recklessly, they were playing on the fly, and it all started with those 2 kills through that angle onto the hallway downstairs from that Smoke roaming hard. If he hadn't got those 2 kills, you could bet that the rest of his team would have started getting quite as aggressive. But now it is a 1-1 scoreline. Both of these teams successful on defense, both of them unsuccessful on offense, not able to make anything happen. And what we're seeing also in that last round from INTZ is they were unable to clear any of the roamers. They addressed each and every one of them. They were playing somebody to push into armory. Whoa, a tower defense. Whatever I was just saying is not important. We have a tower defense coming out here for INTZ. on their second round of defense. Now, this is very uncommon to say the least, but it is fantastic to see in making this attempt. See how it works out for them. They're going to be reinforcing the far side of the attic, which means that they're likely to try and hold that meeting room and tower as well as attic. So that basically consolidates the map and cuts it off so that you only need to hold the northmost side. You can see that castle barricade going down in the basement. That is an attempt to consolidate again, it just down to 2 floors if you don't count the top tower.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly what I wanted to see and exactly what I think is falling into the theme of this season, is that we are starting to see old maps, but new bomb sites. And this is tremendous to see, as you said, mentioned earlier. We are going to have 3 roamers upstairs. I want to say 1 might be in the top of Red Tower, but...
So what's going to be happening here is Black Dragons are going to start clearing from the west, as you would typically do on this particular map. They're going to start clearing from the west, go over to the east. They are going to get established map control and deny any of the roamers. And the thing is, they're going to have to contest 1 roamer, sure, but after they've contested actually 2 roamers, the Jaeger and the Bandit, on the south side of those barricades from Meeting Hall. Anyway, after they've contested those roamers, whether they've won or lost the engagement, then they have to make a full frontal assault onto the Meeting Hall itself, if not the tower. And that requires a lot of manpower, requires a lot of time, and they're already 1 minute down going into this round.
They are, and we do see PZD trying to work his way up the back stairs. Again, we've got Jaeger and Bandit. That's going to be GCR and FK trying to hold down the fort on the front south end of the map.
Yeah, you can see this barbed wire is very tactically placed. PZD would have a lot of options here to push through this doorway and start applying pressure onto what I believe is the Jaeger and Big Kids. However, that barbed wire is going to slow them way, way down.
We are going to have FK trying to come out with a little bit of a pre-fire on the top of those back stairs. Bandit's going to be close. Now, it looks like they will drop. He dropped down out the window, coming up the back main stairs as GCR picks off Psycho. So him hop on out of the window, and so he did manage to get back upstairs away from the rest of the team. The rest of the onslaught of the attackers, but it looks as though Kamikaze pushes in the big window and FK will fall.
And you can see here it is a 4-4. However, the roamers have done their job in this round. 1 single minute left to go, and there is still a Bandit who is looking to contest from the master bedroom, I believe.
It's either master
He's
bedroom or
Armory
he's in the
Hall.
armory. He's
I think he's Armory Hall.
Yeah. He's Armory Hall waiting for the push to
There
come
it
on
is.
down, which is where Glaz is going to be looking. However, GCR is getting a little tingly feeling right now. He wants to just stay put. He's backing up into the armory. He's going to get detected here. He's going to be spotted. Now he's wasting as much time as he can, and that's exactly the goal.
Yeah, but at the same time, 50 seconds left to go. There's not a lot of options for the
There's a
attackers.
wonderful shot there by Kamikaze. A 3-on-4 now with 45 seconds to go. They've only cleared out half the map so far.
Yeah, they've only cleared out the northmost side of the map from the Meeting Hall, and now they have to, again, start that full frontal assault onto these remaining 3 defenders who are all just kind of, you know, hanging out in Meeting Hall, hanging out in Tower. They don't need to apply any pressure.
Now
They are actually going to, though, and we are going to see smoke get picked off by PZD as he attempts to go for that aggressive push.
Now you can see what Silence was doing. He was trying to draw back 10 seconds on either side of the Meeting Hall there, and unfortunately he pushed a little bit too soon and didn't pre-fire the main entry point to lobby. However, PZD did tag him down.
Oh no!
9 above, however, it looks like we're going to have PZD falling. He's got a castle barricade blocking his way. Fortunately for him, he does have the breaching charge, but it will not be enough. Last man alive is going to have to be the Valkyrie, but he does fall, and so does Lend. And now we have a successful attacking on this back red tower by Black Dragons.
So very nice idea there from INTZ, as well as a well-executed idea. I think that they did a good job of wasting a whole lot of time for the attackers on the northmost side of that Meeting Hall. However, when it really came down to it, after those roamers had been picked off, and unfortunately the Bandit was unable to influence the round much at all, he kind of just died. After that happened, the remaining attackers, they had the man advantage pushing into the tower. I mean, they just kind of established lines of sight into the bomb site itself. And that, by the way, is very impressive. Normally you would see in that situation a team consolidate itself and say, okay, we're all going to push from meeting, we're all going to push from outside tower, we're going to start getting on windows, we're going to do one of these things. And what we saw Black Dragons do is they did a little bit of everything and they made it work. So the problem with trying to do everything, with pushing in through Meeting Hall, with pushing in through the tower door, with pushing in through the tower windows, and they did all 3, is that normally you could just, you know, one of those players would get picked off, and then that's all the pressure from that lane alleviated. In this situation, Black Dragons won each and every one of those engagements, which made it so that there was no real chance for INTZ to start that comeback later into the round. A nice try all the same, though, and it was really cool to see Tower defend it.
Now we can see Psycho about to jump on out of the dining room to try to throw a cam out here on that green silo. Now, fortunately for INTZ, Ninja did have his drone over this. We will most likely spot that out here momentarily. The bus Valkyrie cam is one of the ones that is a typical spot. Most people will look there nowadays.
It'll get shot probably.
Yeah.
It gives you some good initial information, though. You can see these mirror windows tactically placed to hold the to hold the master bedroom and the kitchen downstairs. That means that with that kitchen mirror window looking into cafeteria, they're going to be applying a lot of pressure to cafeteria, so they don't have to worry about grenades or shotguns coming from underneath once they, or if they, you know, so basically they don't have to lose control of below them. And then the one in the master hallway will be to counter specifically an armory master take.
Now, unfortunately, Kamikaze's nade, or C4, didn't miss its target. Ninja, however, will still stay alive. A couple bullets will come up from Twitch to pop on Kamikaze and be finished off there by Sledge. That's going to be Ninja. FK, however, was managing to take down Kamikaze. Or, sorry, Ninja.
These unreinforced armory walls are gonna apply a lot of pressure now to PZD.
We're gonna hear an aggressive push by Psycho. He will get detected after not getting out as smoothly as he wanted to, and that's gonna force Ninja to still stay on this window, live and healthy as he can be.
But again, PZD, he's in a really bad situation here. Ninja's gonna get the shot on through the wall. That's a headshot onto PZD, and now it's a 2 versus 5. Not a lot of options for the remaining Black Dragons players, as they are kind of all centered around the white stairs.
These rounds are progressing very quickly. However, we will have one shot from Psycho coming up the back stairwell, taking out Silent. A 4-on-2 now with 1:20 left to go. Still fairly a lot of time left to go here for INTZ to secure the sites.
Yeah, and that INTZ push straight onto the armory was applied a lot of pressure, and unfortunately Black Dragons, where they were trying to challenge it in such a direct manner, and when you do that, yeah, okay, that's a good idea, it can work, but if you fail, I mean, it's like we talked about spreading out, you know, trying to address every single lane into the site. It works really well if you win your engagements, but if you lose a single engagement, then suddenly everything starts to cascade and fall apart, and that's what we saw happen for Black Dragons here on this defense.
Now we are going to need Psycho to make a push right now, because if he waits anymore, they're going to clear out the rest of the site and be able to see that it's all clear. He does pick off one kill, the team kill also happens. FK and Len are the last two alive here on the attacking squad. Diffuser going to be in the hands of Thatcher here, as Ty's on the back stairs, Psycho trying to regroup with him. Now the C4 might come out from underneath. No, it will not. The plant's going to go down inside of the B site. And Ty still on the back stairs. We are going to have Psycho working his way up from the beginning, from the front stairs. Clearing out master bedroom, now moving on over, realizing, okay, maybe the middle dorms are all clear. Ty's going to actually go to toss one C4 from underneath. It will not tag its intended target, so Psycho's still going to progress forward. And they've got to get back. That was a 3-speed, or the 3-armored, 1-speed trying to make that C4 toss. He moves on in and will be taken out, calls on out to his friend, but FK is there to drop him down. And we will see INTZ secure round number 4.
A good attack there from INTZ, but more importantly, an interesting defense from Black Dragons. The way that they were getting so aggressive onto that attack was just kind of unpredictable, but it didn't work for them. Now, if it had worked for them, I mean, obviously they would have won the round, right? But again, we talked about taking these risks, taking these chances. Normally, we don't see this in the Pro League, and it's really cool to see Black Dragons kind of go for it. You know, like, let's just fight them. Let's try and put ourselves on the board ahead of the enemy. And you're seeing the same thing. It's reciprocated, of course, from INTZ.
A little bit of the playstyle we're seeing here reminds me a little bit of G-Bots. And I just remember thinking of G-Bots being that team that is very aggressive from time, but also able to tone it down. And they are unconventional in some of the ways that they hold their strategies.
Yeah, there is a comparison to be drawn there. And now INTZ, they're going to be going down into the basement defense yet again. They were successful here the first time, I believe. And they are going to try and attempt it yet again. And what happened here on the first defense from INTZ when they were going onto this site was we had a FK1 playing that Jaeger in the meeting hall. He was able to stall out as well as trade out a lot of kills to give his team a super great time advantage as well as man advantage leading into the later end of the round. And then once the attackers, that was Black Dragons, had control over meeting hall, they basically didn't have any real avenues to push into the site. Sure, they had drop downs open, but that's not how you attack a basement. You need to have more options than that. You need to have bodies to cover angles. You can't simply just drop down. You're going to get traded off or killed off as soon as you hit the floor.
Now we do see PZD progressing into the small tower as he usually does, and Kamikaze actually going to lead the way this time. Drones at his feet there, trying to give him the clear and the go-ahead.
This is an example, again, of clearing from west to east. Time and time again, this is how you see this particular map, Oregon, played out for the attacking squad. It doesn't even really matter which site is being defended. This is just where it starts. Because, I mean, one of the main aspects of Siege on attack is you have to first establish your beachhead. You have to first have an avenue into the building so that you can start to make your plays happen before the round even really begins for you. And that's a challenge by itself, but it's especially easy on a map like Oregon. On a map like Cafe, on the other hand, it's really, really difficult. I mean, all you have is like the top of red stairs.
Yep. Now we will see right there, GCR is going to get tagged by Kamikaze inside of the attic. It's not exactly sure where that shot came from, but I tell you what, I think FK called it out for him, said it's somewhere inside of the meeting hall. So he will fall and get zapped again. That's 20 health off the board there. Will he get tagged a third time?
He got
yes,
the third
will.
one.
That's
there
30 damage done to him already.
40.
He just cannot tag it.
I believe that was 40.
There it is. So that is, I want to say, yeah, 40, looking at his health bar at the top there. 4 hits down. That's enough to say about 2 bullets into his chest.
Yeah, that'll save you a lot of time, especially when you're shooting at a 3-speed. However, it took a lot of time to do it as well for the attackers, and only a minute left to go. Still, neither of these teams have found an engagement, and no one's died.
We do have Ninja holding it down on the back stairs. Again, he's waiting for the push and also waiting for a potential lurk and flank. We will finally see GRC get finished off by PZDs. He rushes around from the middle of the meeting hall. Now he's going to try to take on Jaeger. That's going to be FK. FK decided to back into Red Tower. Meeting hall control is now in the hands of Black Dragon. 40 seconds left to go. Drop hatches are open. This is going to allow Black Dragon to possibly push back the rotation and stop the rotation with that drop hatch open. You can see PZD waiting for that rotation back. See him drop in. Now we do still have FK on the back stairs. The flank coming around from above, and we'll see PZD just drop him down. Ninja has managed to get back onto the site though. It looks as though we will have Linked fall, as we also have Ninja then go down as well. Last man alive going to be the Smoke. He's inside the closet. He gets taken out very easily. Silence will fall to Psycho. Round number 5 goes to Black Dragons.
A good attack there from Black Dragons, very consolidated aggression. I like the way that they didn't really have much control. They had a semblance of control in that they had, you know, the entire north side of Meeting Hall. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. They had the entire north side of Meeting Hall under their clutches. However, that's not really a lot to scoff at. I mean, it's not much to look at when you're talking about an Oregon basement attack. You need to establish control over that Meeting Hall. But with a minute left, they managed to take control of Meeting Hall, take control of Tower, make that push down into the A-bomb site downstairs, and eliminate all of the defenders. And that is honestly very impressive. Very good aggression coming out from Black Dragons now. That will put them in the lead 3-2 and still fighting very hard for this win. Trying to bring it back here on Oregon. We will have Black Dragons thrust down into the basement yet again. And INTZ put onto attack. There is no Hibana coming out. We haven't seen Hibana played very much, which is very interesting to see. Gonna be honest here, because Hibana on this particular bomb site is extremely useful. There are 3 drop downs. And with that Hibana, you can open each and every one of them, or you can open up the mirror windows, which are usually placed in that closet or by construction. And having those mirror windows open gives you a lot of options as an attacker, especially, I mean, look at this. This is the Black Dragons roam coming out again from this smoke. Now, it's likely he's not going to get those same 2 kills through the floor like he did previously. However, he's still going to apply a lot of pressure to the attack, waste a lot of time with that mirror window, and probably just have a good round overall. I mean, Smoke's a really good operator for that position.
I was going to say, with how much we saw of the roam game from Black Dragons last time they defended downstairs, I wouldn't be surprised if INTZ is saying, let's just push in through construction. That's what you bring the thermite for.
And there we
push
have
right
it.
in, and that way, we've talked about it before, you can easily watch the flank from Red Tower. And you just push into the site, and you've only got one person to deal with. And last time, I believe that was Ty on Mira.
Yeah, and it looks like INTZ will be doing just that, but they're taking their merry time about it, setting themselves up for this attack. They have a lot of factors to consider here, and with a whole minute off the board, this is definitely not a rush. And you need to be applying that pressure fast when you're dealing with a hard rotation that will be coming from Black Dragons eventually.
Yep, you can already see the Black Dragons IGL is already calling him back on site. Kamikaze's on the stairs. 9 next is still on the bottom here. He's moved back onto site. You've got Mira and who else was down here? No, those are the 3. No, we also have Psycho. So we now have 4 from what was a 4-man roam is now 4 men on site and only 1 roamer.
I really like how Black Dragons reserved their mirror windows until they knew where the attack was coming from. Sure, they put that one all the way deep on the roam game for Smoke. However, the second mirror window, instead of going into the closet, as is typical, went onto that wall And you can see in the hallway to try and maintain some control over the stairs. We are going to see PZD start things off here onto GCR. That's because INTZ didn't take control of this meeting hall before they made their push into the construction itself. And now having that meeting hall drop open is going to give PZD a lot of options.
Yeah, but you can see that's going to be FK opening up the hole in the wall, and PZD is actually in a very good position. Right now, he's going to be waiting for the push on out, but it looks like Ninja will spot him if he gets his drone there successfully. And he may have seen him. He might not have, though.
He may have missed him. He's going to spot the pulse, however, and Kamikaze is going to fall further back into Attic. Although 51 seconds left to go, it's still the pressure's still on INTZ here to make this happen.
We do have Lend in the back of blue at the moment. PZD still looking for the shots there onto him as we have got Pulse above. That's Kamikaze. Now Lend's feet are being spotted. You can see the patience from PZD as he waits for the perfect shot, goes for the shotgun kill and gets it down. That's going to be a wonderful secondary kill. Goes for the shotgun kill but misses the drop shot from Ash as FK takes him out for the count. Now there's only one man left to go on inside. It's going to be Silent against 4 defenders. He's going to be inside of blue, and it looks like we might be shots from above as shots from the side of the site. And we will not see this go in the Fan of Silence. We will have the pistol kill come on out from Kamikaze. He takes him on down.
A very well layered defense there from Black Dragons, and an unfortunately slow attack coming out from INTZ. I like the way that INTZ read into that situation. Oh, hey, they roam really, really deep on the west side of the building. They put mirror windows, they invest their smoke. We should probably just avoid the west side of the building. So they went for that construction take like you were talking about, and that's good read. However, they were too slow about it. They allowed the rotation coming from Black Dragons, and because of that, we are now on match point. As well as, more importantly, when they were making that push into meeting hall, they had too much to deal with and they couldn't handle all of it. There was not enough men on the board for INTZ to make that push happen. Now Black Dragons going on to attack, INTZ back onto defense. It's likely we're going to see a basement defense coming out again, and we will be seeing just that.
Now it is match point 4-2 for Black Dragons. They secure this attack phase. We will see this first map go in the hands of Black Dragons, and ultimately we'll be moving on to our second map of the evening in this best of 3.
I love the speed and the pacing of this matchup. It's been extremely fast. These rounds have just flown by, really, and I do very much enjoy watching these two teams play. Now, I'd be curious to see how exactly INTZ choose to handle this. I mean, I like this mirror window coming into the kitchen. That's going to be a very heavy pressure onto cafeteria. However, I don't know if it's entirely necessary. I think the mirror window we were seeing from the smoke on Black Dragons earlier is probably the more useful one, I'd say, because the thing about that mirror window is you can just go upstairs as an attacker, open up above it, and then anyone playing it dies, and the mirror window gets opened. I mean, there's not, and you are seeing clearly here that we don't have any roamers above to cover for that coming out from INTZ. So just a little bit of a base uncovered there from INTZ. At the same time, if we look back at the way that INTZ won this last time, they won this defense last time, it was because Black Dragons spent a little bit too time hunting down the roamers, which might be playing into the way that INTZ is playing right, or work for the way INTZ is playing right now. As you can see, there's that barbed wire there on the south side of cafeteria door, trying to waste some more time.
Now PZD has entered into the bomb site, or entered into the building the exact same time, or the exact same way every single time.
Yeah.
He's doing this exact same thing here. Now we also will see the shots laying down onto GCR from Kamikaze. Wonderful tag there onto the head. There's going to be smoke coming in from behind. Now he moved into the showers coming up behind the Bandit, and that will be the end of FK, behind the Jaeger.
Yeah, I think, not sure he got both of those, but he did, in the end, both Bandit and Jaeger have been eliminated, and with 2 minutes left to go, it is looking absolutely detrimental for INTZ. They have such a man disadvantage now, and so much time left to go in this round that it's going to be all pressure on INTZ here to keep themselves in this first map of Oregon.
Now we do still have one roamer. That's going to be Knee next, and last time we saw him do a little bit of some roam, a little bit of some impact, but he's got to get his timing down on this. He's got to make sure that it's going to be effective. I think he might be up in the attic at the moment. He is. So PZD likely to open up some of the barbed wire here and then work his way forward.
You can see the normal take is coming out from Black Dragons. They're not rushing themselves here. They're going, all right, we're going to do a lobby drop take. We have the man advantage, and we just lost it. Well, at least we lost the significant advantage. Ninja going to pick off the Ash to keep his team in this matchup, hopefully for him.
Now that is a good C4 use, although it might not have been to get the target. He used it to open up the wall, get himself back on site, or unless he's going to play this a little bit aggressively.
I mean, in this situation as a defender, you need to play a little bit aggressively. You need to be able to trade frags back in order to bring your team into the match, or at least back into the match, as far as the scoreline is concerned.
So we'll see Ninja all the way back onto the B site here. 30 seconds left to go. Silence going to take a little bit of damage here, but the gas grenades are going to stop the push through the middle or the main stairwell. You saw Ty just try to scoot all the way down the stairs. He's got the diffuser in hand. Might be going for the plant here as Kamikaze trying to hold the flank. Kamikaze still baiting out the gas grenades here with 15 seconds left to go. Silencer looks like Ty and Psycho will both fall to Lend and Silence, and we will have Sledge get nailed with the shotgun. Last man alive is going to be Blackbeard, and it looks like this could be the clutch here from INTZ, and it will happen as Ninja takes him down. We still are going to see INTZ in this. It's now 4-3.
Well played to Ninja there. If it weren't for his pressure being applied in the meeting hall, you would have almost certainly seen Black Dragons push into meeting hall, start applying pressure from more of the drop downs onto the anchors in the site. Those last 3 remaining defenders would have gotten picked off likely one by one. However, because of that meeting hall pressure that we saw from Ninja, because of that initial kill onto the Ash, that meant that Black Dragons second-guessed themselves. And instead of going for a full take, opening up all their options, they just were like, all right, let's push in through the lobby drop. And that just is going to work against you if you don't have a way to nullify the mirror window. Now, 4-3, INTZ are looking for that comeback. They are going to be attacking onto an upstairs defense coming out from Black Dragons. We'll see exactly how they choose to handle it. They have brought a Capitao to the board. Capitao, an interesting operator to say the least, does have a lot of good ways to get rid of certain positions in those fire arrows that a lot of operators don't have. I mean, the fact that alone that the fire arrows bypass ADS devices is pretty significant.
Yeah, and so with Black Dragons being up here, I believe they lost this defensive hold, and they lost it very decisively. It came to be a 5-on-2, I think.
Yeah, and the reason for that was because they were so very aggressive onto the attackers, and that can work. That can work, do not get me wrong. That is definitely a viable strategy. However, when it doesn't hard. And we saw it happen. Like you said, it was a 5-on-2 at one point, and that's just severe. They actually, Black Dragons almost made that comeback happen, but ended up not being able to bring it in there towards the end.
Looks as though we are going to have Ninja, that's the Sledge, going up to the small tower as FK is going to be getting rid of the camera. I might have already gotten picked off there by GZD.
So you can see here the attack coming out from INTZ is going to be a B bomb site windows, main window, and main tower take. At least that's how it's starting off here, going into this match point round. Now, again, we talked about how the pressure's on INTZ last round where they were in a 3v5, and now the pressure is still on INTZ as it is still match point. They haven't brought themselves back to OT just yet. One more round on the board, and they will do just that. That's still 1 round left to go. Silence has taken control of this attic. That's going to mean that his team can rappel into those B windows and start applying pressure directly onto the B bomb site. But they're going to have to contest PZD, who's playing that smoke deep inside the site.
Now, fortunately here, Silence was able to open up the wall, and that's going to leave a hole that he can now move from attic into the main hallway, going into master bedroom. That does force Nenex out anywhere, I believe, off to the master bedroom possibly. However, we do have PZD inside of the A site, ready to see exactly what just might come his way. Silence, however, will pick off that kill there onto Ty, and again, Silence he's gotten that kill there onto Mira.
Yeah, Mira's a big operator to have off the board. I mean, it's the HP. Psycho, however, is going to run out and pick off GCR and Ninja, repelling on those B windows. And that's why you have to maintain control over that tower, lest you get flanked. So that's Black Dragons now putting themselves in a position to lock this entire map out with just those 2 kills.
That's also diffuser down outside of this north window, so if Psycho calls it, he knows that, okay, if they wait until about 30 seconds left, they're going to have to rappel up and swing in, which I can just stay at this window.
And I think we heard, Psycho heard that run out there from the Thatcher. He will go for the vault
There
out.
it is, wonderful shot there by Psycho at 3K in his pocket at the moment, at 3-on-2 now. He is coming around here, actually might spot the Hibana inside of Attic. No, Hibana actually navigated away.
Attic, yo, the Hibana walked right past the Jaeger and managed to put himself into small bunks.
Now there's going to be one shot. Psycho saw it. He goes for the 4K. He's got it. He's got 1 guy left to go. It's going to be FK. He picked up the diffuser. Looks like we will have 15 seconds for FK to hop on inside. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Psycho goes to toss the C4 inside. The Valk cam is perfect. It's given them plenty of information. FK is going to move on over into the site. Oh, we could have a clutch here. Goes for the ace, and he gets it. Psycho's going to grab the ace to get the win here for Black Dragons on map number 1.
good halves coming out from both of these teams in the chat, and it was indeed a fantastic half. Both these teams playing extremely hard in this first map of Oregon, and an ace to lock things out on that final round. Very impressive from Psycho.
What a round.
And you know, I'm going to be honest, I talk about this for a second. We were talking about earlier about how Valkyrie sees more play in the Latin American scene than we see maybe in every other scene, and it seems like Valkyrie is the best fragger for Latin America, and I think they tend to favor the high rate of fire that MPX brings to the field.
I was about to say that too. Like, the MPX is, I feel like, in some regions, or at least on some teams, an underrated weapon.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. The dilemma with the MPX is that if you fight a Blackbeard, you can't win that fight. You basically cannot win that fight. You'd have to be really lucky. But other than that, it's a fantastic gun. If you can get the headshots, and these players are obviously getting the headshots. They are. It's a fantastic gun. A very high rate of fire.
Yeah. So congratulations to Black Dragons. That was map number 1. We will get underway with map number 2, which I think we had said is going to be Border, and then our final map I think is Chalet. We'll have to stay tuned and see.
I mean, both of these maps that we're going to be going on to, whichever one it be, are going to be very good, well-balanced maps that everyone obviously likes to play. So I think that the preference is going to swing in one team's or another way, obviously, as it always does. However, both of them are going to have competent strategies set up for either or. So it's going to be a close one, to say the least, similar to what we just saw on Oregon.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, we talked about it right off the bat when we saw INTZ go to Red Tower. That was something that, like I said, is starting to seem like a theme here in this season 2 of the Pro League for year 2. And I'm curious if we're going to see that same kind of mentality come out on our next map. It could be, if it's Chalet, possibly the Bar Gaming Room, especially if they might have taken something from the books of last night.
So the Bar Gaming Room defense is really interesting. I went back and analyzed the VOD after we casted it yesterday for North America. And the way that they have themselves set up, there are ways to deal with it, like for example taking from underneath, pushing your way in through snowmobile, but that is equally counterable in the same sense as like okay, you could just reinforce the snowmobile walls to play a bandit downstairs and try to hold that. I mean, there's so many different strategies that could evolve from that particular defense. Now normally on pocket strat defenses, I don't see them, you know, they're finding their way into the meta, into what we commonly see. But that Bar Gaming defense was actually, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it strategically, and that, you know, you have so much control over upstairs. Again, the balcony outside is basically useless. These are some nice frags coming out from these teams. Let's just take a second to acknowledge both of these teams played fantastically, and each and one of these frags is a sight to behold.
Yeah, and so, like we said, Black Dragon did come out on top. INTZ did try to pull it back, though. They were down 4-2 and ended up winning that round in a very clutch situation, making it 4-3. But yeah, I'll tell you, Psycho had something to say about that last round.
Yeah, the ace was fantastic, and it was definitely worthy of a map win by itself. However, yeah, talking about Chalet. That Bar Gaming Room defense, totally viable. If teams start to analyze that and start to like dive into it, we could see it played a little bit more. However, I don't think it's likely. Most teams actually snub the idea of mixing up their strategies and going for a different site. A lot of them think, it's not viable, ha ha ha. They just throw it out there as being not viable because they, from their experience, are used to it not being the site played. And so that doesn't necessarily come from analyzing or strategy. It just comes from repetitiveness.
It's a learned behavior.
Exactly.
So
Thank you. Perfect.
So you have all of these teams that have been in the Pro League. They have this learned behavior that on Chalet, you go Kitchen Trophy, you go Snowmobile and Wine Cellar. But what we've seen previously and what we're possibly seeing this time around is we're seeing these Challenger League teams that do not have this learned behavior.
Yeah, well, they have a different learned behavior.
They have a different learned behavior of, okay, these are some other sites we've chosen. Yeah. We've taken a look at them. We're starting from a fresh slate. And so that's what we're starting to see here is some of these teams come out of the woodwork and say, we're going to try this out. And as you said there, the top, or the Bar and Gaming Room on Chalet, seems like it might be something viable.
Yes, however,
we are going to get underway with Border. Border is our second map of the day, and we're going to start out with Black Dragons on attack. So let's see what the operator's choices are going to be here.
Yeah, so Black Dragons here on attack. Like he said, we are going to have INTZ going on to their defense of what I believe is Armory. I do not know. I do not speak Portuguese.
Yes, this is the Arsenal room in Armory here, the lockers.
Awesome. All right, so Black Dragons are going to be bringing the Glaz to the board and not a Blackbeard. Kind of surprised by that pick there. Bringing a Thermite and a Hibana, trying to cover all of their bases. We talked about this earlier, how you have both the destruction operators. You open your options up quite a lot, as well as having those contingency plans. But more importantly, and I think it's worth noting on, Thermite isn't a bad operator apart from his ability, right? So like it used to be everyone would call him the noodle operator because his weapon kind of flew all over the place. It was kind of wavy in its recoil pattern. That changed. It changed, and his recoil is extremely manageable. So and then now he's got flashbangs. So as soon as you get those thermite charges off, or if you don't need them in an attack, he just becomes a straight up fragging operator, and his gun is really good for that role.
Yeah, I'd say it is. Basically, that's one of the things that we do see from time to time, and a lot of the times it's happening in the Pro League. When you bring a Thermite, he's used his breaching charges, like you just called it out. He becomes a fragger for his team.
I mean, I got flashbangs, I got a good rifle, and I'm a 2-speed. Why not, right? We are going to be seeing the attackers spawn on the east side of the building. They're going to be aggressing their way towards the offices, going for that B bomb site take. This is the more commonly played attack that we see these days on Border. However, we have seen, usually I think from North America, we were seeing Blackbeard play quite a lot on this attack. Yep. And it was made quite useful as well. We're not going to be seeing that from Black Dragons. They are instead opting to bring the Glaz. And I think that makes a lot of sense because the Glaz can aid in that push into the B bomb site if you're coming from the balcony, or just to cut off the rotation from the A bomb site, because there's only one way to rotate from A to B. That's through that one single door. So once they've established control over offices, Fountain, and the B bomb site itself, picked off any defenders playing in there, Black Dragons then just lay down some smokes to get the plan.
Now we do have PCD opened up the east wall into the offices. He's taking a look towards Fountain at the moment. Playing it very cautiously though, because we do have INTZ pre-opening up that Fountain wall. You can see all the hits on it.
And I think the guys in CCTV coming out from INTZ, that very heavy roam game coming out from INTZ in CCTV, have a mirror window, which they are going to utilize through both of those broken walls, and will be able to assist in holding this offices. Ninja, however, is the only one who's capable of holding this window, and he's going to have to contest as the smokes do come out now. That's a lot of utility used up for Black Dragons on those smokes. They only have 3, I believe, on this team.
Now you can see the patience that Ninja is going through. He's just trying to play a little bit left and right. We do have TCR who's going to miss the shot.
The timing.
He got un-ADS at the wrong time. Ninja will also fall. Kamikaze's going to come out strong with a double kill.
That's office control cinched in the bag for Black Dragons. Unfortunately, those mirror windows not able to be utilized to the fullest of their ability. You could see it there just as he peeked. He's looking towards the Jaeger, who has repositioned. And unfortunately, again, that mirror window not being able to trade those kills back is going to put INTZ in a very bad predicament right now. But at the same time, Black Dragons have used all of their smokes, which means on this site push itself, they're going to have to refrag each other, otherwise risking a comeback here from the defenders.
Now we do have FK coming on out of the monitors room, out of break room, possibly peeking on in towards the offices. Now this is a hole that we've seen earlier on, and it actually proved to be useful for the team previously, but he's not able to get the kills he wants on it. Silence, however, will take that SMG-11 to the head of Hibana, and she will fall down.
You can see PZD still wary of that Jaeger playing in CCTV. Meanwhile, we are going to have Silence picked off by Thigh. 20 seconds left to go now.
2-on-4. Len still trying to hold down the 40. Does have the C4 in hand, but it looks as though Kamikaze will fall to FK. He goes around for the flank. Now he's got to come around. Looks like Psycho's going to swing some bullets into his back, but misses. FK's going to grab one here. He's still here. Ty, PZD, and Psycho. Last 3 alive. However, FK's got his own to say about it. PZD peeks on from the hole open on the west balcony, and we will see the shot go down. Right there's going to be the win here for Black Dragons.
So you could say nice try, FK. However, at the same time, FK was that player, you have to remember, who playing in CCTV was unable to refrag his teammates who were getting slaughtered in offices. So not being able to get those trade backs ultimately meant that the defenders were at such a man disadvantage when the attackers started to make that push into the site. Yes, they didn't have smokes, but they could just refrag, and just that happened. We saw the victory coming out from Black Dragons to start us off here on Border. Now, Armory defense coming out from Black Dragons as well. Going to be going to that same exact bomb site. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how exactly INTZ choose to attack this, because we talked about it earlier. It's more common that we see an attack straight into offices these days. However, there's a lot of counters coming out from that. And there's counters equally for the A-bomb site take. So let's talk about the guys in CCTV for a second. When you're playing inside CCTV as a defensive squad, you have that mirror window, you have those walls opened up into office. That gives you line of sight into the office itself. That gives you a lot of control. However, you also have to be wary of players pressuring you from the balcony. And that can be remedied by throwing a Valkyrie cam out there, having someone play aggressive onto the west balcony, which means the attackers are forced onto the south balcony door into cafeteria. And you have basically CCTV cinched in the bag as a defender as long as each and every one of your operators hold the angle they need to hold. However, there are ways around that. Simply running through the front door up the main stairs into that rotational, for example, is one of the ways. But, you know, that's the sort of thing, like a play that you need to make that is super aggressive and super risky at the same time as an attacker. So, are we going to see a methodical take into offices coming out from INTZ, or are we going to see some crazy plays coming out from INTZ to try and counter the strategy that they know they're going to be coming up against here on this defense? And we are seeing Black Dragons do very similarly to INTZ, playing in that CCTV. Or are we going to see just a simple CCTV, A wall, straight into the A bomb site take?
Looks as though Ninja's going to be the one forcing his way onto the west end of the map, first floor, trying to take out some roamers first, but we don't have anyone on this first floor. He does have a drone working his way to try and give him some headway.
You can see there, it's just in the very beginning of the round, trying to clear out those roamers, trying to establish some control over the first floor, and it looks like they have done that for the most part. I don't see any roamers coming up from Black Dragons. However, this angle, a couple angles probably from Black Dragons looking down, are waiting for the attackers to start that clear.
Now, I believe Psycho realized the hole that he got opened up was droned out. He saw the shots coming up from FK. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Psycho try to drop here, try to servers, but he's also got to be cautious because he doesn't know how many people are down there. Minute 30 still on the board here. 5 on 5. We are still seeing INTZ get into position. They haven't progressed definitively onto a site yet, or into a coordinated strategy just yet. It looks like they're going to move their way over to the east balcony now. We see them wanting to take over the offices, and Next might be the one to help stop that.
And you saw that Twitch drone open up that mirror window, which is going to force the mirror back onto the site. However, Psycho is going to pick off FK to start things off here, and with only a minute left to go, the defenders are in a really good position here. The attackers, all they've established control over is the bottom floor, and they're losing it. Ninja is going to trade things back onto Psycho, though.
That will be one of the roamers who have dropped. That's Psycho, the Valkyrie. However, we do see Ninja getting tagged in the back here. I think that was from servers. Right now, he's going to try to take a different route around. Looks like that may have been Nenex that fell. PCD, though, going to take a couple bullets there onto Silence. Now that is 2 members of INTZ that are drastically hurt and bleeding to death. You've got Nenex, who's been down to about 1 health. Silence with about 5. GCR is going to duck his way under the line of sight of PCD as they make their way into B. Ninja still underneath here, though. Got the diffuser in the hands of Silence. He is in sight. He's going to go for the plant here as GCR is going to try to cover it. Now PZD has all 3 gas grenades, but he's nowhere in position to use it. And that will be the F2 coming out of GCR to take down Ty. 4 on 3, diffuser getting planted. You've got Len coming around from the east stairwell. He'll take down PZD, but underneath you've got Nenex coming around, and he will swing down for the trade. He gets taken out by himself here. No, that's actually not. That's going to be a double kill. Len got PZD, and Nenex moving over to get finish off Len. A 1 on 2 now. Diffuser has been planted. Ninja, last man alive, 1 health and a dream. He's going to toss out a gas grenade, or a frag grenade. Giving away his position here. Bandit swings around there, and that will be the end of the round. We are going to see Black Dragons secure round number 2, leading 2-0 at the moment.
Excellent and a very aggressive retake from Kamikaze and 9. Very good take there, very good retake there. They lost control over the bomb site. They got obviously the attackers established that diffuse plant. However, when the collapse happened, the attackers were not ready to receive these last 2 defenders. More importantly, the attackers, they didn't establish any control over anything other than the B-bomb site itself, not over offices. Well, I mean, you could argue offices, but it was half-hearted, you know? They left a lot of lanes open. They didn't maintain control over east stairs, which opened up the flank avenues for the remaining defenders, as well as they lost some players and some pressure from CCTV itself. And we're seeing CCTV play a very strong role going in each and every one of these rounds, as every one of them has been an armory thus far. And now Black Dragons 2-0. They are going to be going on to an INTZ armory defense yet again, as INTZ was unsuccessful here previously.
So you talked about it before, the angle that we saw Mira holding, or at the time it was GCR, it was on Bandit, but the angle they were holding was actually right by the drop hatch in that monitor's room where we just saw Mira opening up the wall, the one that Lend is reinforcing now. That mirror window allowed them to see all the way through Fountain, all the way through Office, and that's what was supposed to see the glass, if I remember correctly, that pushed in and then finished off Ninja.
Yeah, and that's when FK1 didn't get the refrag, unfortunately, onto that glass. But not only does it see all the way deep into offices, but it also sees that south doorway to the balcony. which gives you, again, like a lot of control. This mirror window that you just saw placed is going to maintain control of the west balcony. So the west and the south balcony are effectively cut off for the attackers, which means attacking CCTV is, yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, to say the least. Black Dragon's now going to be, instead of, well, obviously not attacking CCTV, they're going to be opting to go for an offices take, pushing their way onto the east side of the building.
Now, Silence is going to play inside of the role, or inside of the office here, where we saw Ninja do that last time. Looks like he might be playing a little bit more aggressive. He's got the shotgun right underneath of the window. PCD's going to be on top of that northeast balcony, though, trying to push his way in towards the archives. Almost tapping the head there of Ninja as he scoots around the doorway. 2 minutes still to go. Kamikaze's going to be droning out now of that archives room. We can already see that the push is going to come from the east side of the balcony. You've got all 5 members. That's going to be Thermite. That's Ty on the balcony. I'm sorry, that is Glaz. Kamikaze out on the balcony by the ventilation units. Looking in through the singular window. Everyone else from Black Dragon's either going to be on the first or second floor here of that east balcony. We're going to see this push happen over in the next minute or so.
Black Dragons hasn't started to push into offices yet, and thus this push is going to go straight in through the balcony is probably going to be futile, but they are trying to force it out. They only have a minute 20 left to go, and it looks like Ty is going to go for that plan.
Yeah, last time Ty went for the plan, it was successful. We'll have to see.
But last time I think they had control over offices. Now Kamikaze get to pick off Ninja.
C4 is going to come on out, and that will not get destroyed as PZD finishes off Len to save the life there of Ty. Now, unfortunately, it looks like fortunately for him, he did get the diffuser planted. So a 5-on-3, and FK will get taken out here as Silence also falls to PZD. Kamikaze coming in strong from the window, and GCR will also go down. Black Dragons making it look easy.
All right, guys, next level strat. Let's take control over north balcony over outside of B. Establish some smoke lines so that the defenders can't actively shoot the defuse plant, and then just plant. And that's basically all that happened in that round. They established control over the north balcony outside of the BB bombs. I mean, I just said it. I mean, there's nothing else to really say about that round. Unfortunately, we didn't see INTZ utilize their smoke canisters, utilize their C4, or utilize any of their utility or even their bodies in any way to stop that defuse plant. And because of that, Black Dragons simply walk away with a round. You can see Glaz being extremely useful on that attack. If it weren't for Glaz, it probably would have been unsuccessful for Black Dragons. The smoke line is the most important part of that whole attack there. Black Dragons now going to be going down into the basement defense, or I say basement, the first floor defense, ventilation archives. And INTZ are going to be thrust back onto attack here. In a 3-0 situation, they've got to start making something happen here if they want to break it to the third map, which is going to be Chalet.
Now, Black Dragons is going to be that team that does stick some people up here. Almost always, you're going to see some players above. Very similar to how we see in other maps when you want to make sure that you don't get flanked from above, or you want to maintain that top floor dominance.
Yeah, and having control of the top floor means that it really depends on the attack that you're seeing coming out from the attackers. For example, if the attacker is going for a west side B take, then maintaining control of where you see Kamikaze playing right now, which is Armory, is basically essential. You have to deny that control for the attackers. However, you can consolidate. Oh. Okay, I'm not quite sure what I was seeing there. I thought I was seeing something. I thought I was seeing a sledge try to rappel in to the balcony window for some reason. But yeah, so you have to maintain control over top of B if you're trying to hold from a B take, or offices if you're trying to hold from an A take.
And guys, we do apologize for the stuttering right now. This stream is being rebroadcasted from the Brazilian broadcast, and therefore we are experiencing connection issues or just some stuttering. But we are going to continue on with the stream at the moment, and so right now we're witnessing FK with his drone inside of the top floor, trying to see clear out archives.
We're watching the slideshow of INTZ starting to take into offices.
GCR is going to move in forward after having that droned out by FK. So he's moving on in. He's going to finish off his droning, moving in even further. It looks like the first kill, though, will go from Kamikaze onto the head of Ninja. And that looks like the sledge gets taken out here. So a minute 30. They still do not have top floor dominance just yet. We're going to see I believe that is Psycho, tucked around in the back corner of the archives.
Yeah, and INTZ is going to have to contest onto Psycho and the Jaeger, I believe. Or no, it's the Bandit, Kamikaze, and that's a lot to fight right now, especially considering their positions. PZD, meanwhile, is going to pick off Lend, which is going to put the attackers now in a 3 versus 5 with no upstairs control, no downstairs control, and no real options here. Only a minute left to go.
You know, we've talked about it before, that if you can't necessarily clear out the roamers or you don't want to take the time to push in from tellers and bathroom, but that also doesn't seem like that's going to be the most viable option. Picking on up from the drop hatch is going to be Ty, taking down GCR as Psycho looks around from the lockers and will drop FK for the count. Last minute alive is going to be Silence. He's tucked away inside of the archives lounge. You already have Nenex moving up forward. He's inside. You're going to have Bandit fall. That's going to be Kamikaze dropping. Gives away the position, though, of Silence, and he will be dropped down for the count. We are going to have Black Dragons secure round number 4, going into map point, series point today.
Yeah, Black Dragons looking like they want to get that 5-0 to lock out border. They are very clearly well versed on this particular map, and it is showing through. Black Dragons now going to be going on to attack, INTZ back onto defense. And INTZ, they can go wherever the heck they want to go, as they have been unsuccessful thus far in each and every round, whether it be attack or defense. They're going to go back into the armory. So Black Dragon's going to be probably going for that offices take again, but I don't think that we're going to see INTZ just let that diffuse plant just kind of plop down just willy-nilly without any contention whatsoever this particular round. So the pressure is going to be on Black Dragons to make an execution that is a little bit more complicated than, hey, walk in through the balcony and plant.
Now, we have seen INTZ set this top 4 site up each and every time. This is their third potential unsuccessful attempt. I'm curious if they should be trying out their secondary bomb site.
I mean, they could, but it's still kind of a risk.
But obviously, this hold is not working for them, and they're setting it up in the same fashion.
Yeah, I think that what's going through their mind is that they're just so much more definitively better on this particular bomb site than they would be downstairs. And I understand that we talked about this. We talk about this all the time, but usually 9 times out of 10, it's better to just rotate to the other bomb site. However, at this point, they've lost it 3 times, I believe, or 2 times. They've lost it 2 times, and the attack from Black Dragons has been pretty similar each and every time. Not the same. First time they actually cleared off. Second time they didn't. And I think INTZ is going to be ready to counter that now. I think they're going to be in a good position where they understand the way that Black Dragons is trying to assault this, and they might be able to handle it. We'll see, though.
Now, GZR is going to be inside of that monitor's room, looking through the mirror window, and he's going to be covering the side of Silence. Silence is inside of the office. Now, last time, I think Silence kind of got out of position a little bit too aggressively. And it looks like, no, I'm sorry, that's going to be Ninja that's tucked around inside of the singular wall in office. We are going to see that breaching charge unfortunately miss its target, so that barbed wire will still stand. There it goes. Now it gets fully destroyed.
This is the same attack we saw from BD on their second attempt at this particular bomb site, which is they've taken control over the east stairs, they've taken control over the north balcony, the balcony outside B, that white balcony, and it looks like they just want to push into the site and plant. Silence is going to be in a position to stop this time, however, with his gas canisters primed and ready to go. So when this smoke line comes out from Kamikaze, it's likely we'll see a gas canister in return.
We do have Psycho underneath inside of Tellers, and right now he's going to make sure that there's no push out to pick off PZD repelled on this east balcony.
Also, no C4 coming up when the plant does end up going down. There is an indestructible floor inside B that you can plant on. However, it's... Oh, the rotation looks like coming out from Black Dragons. They're going to be going for CCTV. They've baited this out. INTZ has pushed their way all the way into offices, and now Black Dragons can walk free into CCTV without any contention whatsoever. With only a minute left to go, they still have plenty of time to make this push happen.
This is basically the exact opposite of what we saw here from our teams on North America yesterday. We saw a perfect rotation with a minute left to go, and it worked out very well. Looks as though it doesn't fare well here as INTZ. It's going to be FK1 picking off Kamikaze and PZD as they're both repelled on the west balcony. Now that could just give them the upper hand they needed with 40 seconds left to go. Their secret attack, their secret flip just did not work for him. GCR's going to get a double kill here. Psycho giving away his position. He's able to tag 1, but Ninja swings down out from the middle dorms and finishes him off.
So an extremely well-calculated rotation from Black Dragons. However, an even better calculated rotation from FK. FK ran outside that front door, and if it weren't for him taking off those 2 players, I have to say it probably would have gone in the favor of the attacking squad there. So good read by him. They're coming onto the balcony on the west. Let me just go ahead and run outside. Now we are on 4-1. However, Black Dragon still on match point. It would have to be something incredible for INTZ to start their comeback here and bring us back into, or deeper into, that is, a border. Black Dragon's now going to be going into their upstairs defense, and they have been successful every single time up here thus far. We have been seeing INTZ, the way they've been attacking is very similar to Black Dragons in that they sort of just take the offices and start to progress into the B-bomb site. And I think they managed to get a defuse plant once, but unfortunately they were unable to hold it because the Kamikaze, and I think it was 9 retake, was very successful.
Yeah, they did have that retake, and it, like you said, worked out very well for them. They still had plenty of time, over half the time on the diffuser left.
Yep. The defuse plant time, the defuse time, and the defuse overall time, I believe, is much, much longer.
45 seconds in Pro League.
Yeah, in Pro League than it would be in Ranked. In Ranked, it's a lot shorter. So, like, in Ranked, you can try to just walk into the site and press F and hold it for, like, I think, like, what, 2 seconds? And it's on the floor?
I believe it's 5 seconds
Really?
in Ranked, 5 seconds in Ranked, and 35 seconds timer. And in Pro League, it is 7 seconds to plant it and to defuse it, and 45 seconds to destroy it.
And those extra couple seconds are all the difference in Pro League. It really does take quite a lot more time when you're thinking about the round strategically. Now, again, match point, INTZ going to be looking for those roamers, trying to establish some amount of control over Kamikaze as they have spotted him out down in the server. Kamikaze just narrowly avoiding these angles from GCR. He's going to maintain his life down here, and Pulse staying alive underneath the site does mean there is C4 potential from underneath whenever the diffuser plant starts to come out at all times. So as long as he's down here, basically, it's going to be very difficult for INTZ to plant the diffuser. There is a spot you can plant inside the B-bomb site we talked about earlier, indestructible floor. However, it is...
does expose yourself more to the lockers, though.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not picking... Oh, these drones. There's another one. Kamikaze's going to keep getting spotted out. GZD or GCR going for that roam hunt.
This is where that pocket aggression comes out. You saw the flank and coming around here trying to get Kamikaze. Lots of bullets will tag him down, but I think he did just as much to GCR. Now more bullets are flying, and it looks as though GCR will come out on top. Wonderful flank there. Wonderful job trying to push onto him, but PZD looks under the drop hatch, picks off one, does not see the ash in time, and FK will get the trade. Immediately followed up here by INTZ, trying to get Ninja down.
Trades back and forth and back and forth. Both of these teams not wanting to give up downstairs control. I like the way that INTZ was clearing out those roamers, but they did take a huge risk and lose a lot of players in the process, as well as time. Only a minute left to go. Black Dragons, 3 players left on the board. All they need to do is hold the site nice and patient. Jaeger is playing in CCTV. He's going to be getting a little bit aggressive, trying to spray through the wall to say, hey, look at me, come try and fight me, rather than letting the INTZ team stack up on his teammates.
And we will be having the office wall getting opened up here by Silence. They were looking like they might push the west side, especially taking over the servers, but now they're going to force their way with 45 seconds left to go into the offices and potentially take over that B site.
Yeah, the push into offices is all well and good, but with 37 seconds to go, now 35, I mean, they have to do it very quickly here, or otherwise they're going to run out of time before they get the defuse plant.
Yep, so you saw Ninex trying to just get a little bit more distraction time before he rotates onto site. They've now gotten all 3. FK going to pick off 1, though. That's the Valkyrie down. I think that was C4 also injured. Now we have Ninex picking up the trade there onto Lend. A 2-on-2, 15 seconds left to go. Diffuser has been fallen. It has been down. Now Silence is going to pick that back up, try to move into site, but Ninex is going to say no. FK is going to get his own trade, and Ninex is going to finish it off here. We are going to see Black Dragons secure round number 6, secure the series, secure the map, secure the 2-0.
An excellent kill there at the end there from NXT. And overall, just very well played from Black Dragons. You saw FK constantly trying to bring it back for his team, just unfortunately unable to get every single kill in all of the rounds.
So with that, Black Dragons successfully doing what we expected them to do, basically, coming out of the 2nd place team from Latin America.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was about as decisive as I think some may have expected.
Yeah, I mean, Black Dragons is a very skilled team, and INTZ is a team, like you said, it came out of Challenger League, and it's got a lot more up against them. So there's, you know, definitely something, a mountain to be scaled, so to speak, for INTZ. But they did prove, again, we see every time that we have a team, or a situation like this, a story like this, the team on the back end of the, you know, sort of the Warlord where you would expect to lose, every round that they get is impressive by itself.
Yeah, and I mean, we did see some unique stuff come out of INTZ, and unfortunately, it didn't work out always in their favor, and ultimately they didn't win any of the maps. But I definitely think that they're working on making a name for themselves here today.
Right.
So with that, ladies and gents, we are going to get to highlights here momentarily. And here we go. So highlights here from Border. We saw a lot of really good things here from Black Dragons. There's that double glass kill from Kamikaze at the very start of the first round.
Yeah, and not being able to trade back that glass, unfortunately, was what ended up costing INTZ that round. If they had been able to trade him back, I mean, sure, they lost 2 players to him, but they could have at least, you know, just refrag, and keep the defensive team in the match. However, just did not happen.
Yeah, and this is that time where we did have INTZ ultimately not get that plant down and be taken out. GCR.
Oh, I liked that round when Black Dragons went for the rotation. Unfortunately, it just was read too well by INTZ, and it played against them.
I think that's some of the benefit that we saw from INTZ maintaining their roamers. Like, typically when you get down to a minute, 30 seconds or so, you're saying, okay, let's start bringing our roamers back on site because we know they're going to make the push. But what we just saw there was Jaeger stayed down. He got the double kill to kick off that amazing rotation, and ultimately, that's what won INTZ their 1 round on Border. So with that, ladies and gents, we are going to get underway after a few short breaks with our next matchup, and that's going to be, let's take a look at the brackets, I want to say. We've got our other 2 teams, which I'm drawing a blank on the names at the moment. So let's take a look at our group
Pain
B.
and OPK.
Pain and OPK, never mind. So Pain and OPK are our 2 teams that we're going to be facing off right after our break. So let's cut to a short moment here, and we will be back right after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Playday number 2 of the Latin American Pro League. My name is Sean Bloodbath Rosenbaum, and here is Kix. Kix, what'd you notice about last game? Anything special jump out to you?
Well, INTZ had a hard time of it. I mean, let's be honest. But at the same time, they put up a really good fight. Overall, on Border, I like the way that CCTV was being held. It was, it wasn't something. It's not revolutionary or anything, but the way that it was held was so concise. It was absolute. Every angle being covered.
Yep.
When we saw that mirror window looking into the hallway, the rotation hole next to it now, and then also the entire wall in offices opened up, which allowed a lot of line of sight into offices. But not only does that mirror window do that, line of sight into offices, lots of control. Maintains control over the main hallway outside of office and CCTV. Also denies the south door from the balcony into CCTV cafeteria, which means that's that entire south you don't have to worry about on your CCTV hold. And then the west balcony is the only thing you have to worry about now. The only way to get into CCTV. You hold that by putting a mirror window on the west wall of the A bomb site, or actually it's the south wall of the A bomb site, whatever the case, on the wall of the A bomb site, and then you can just play aggressively onto that west balcony, or you could just run out from CCTV, whichever one floats your boat, really. But overall, basically the gist of it is that holding CCTV has proven on Border to be extremely easy on a defensive team if you coordinate it right, and every team has struggled when going into that attack. I mean, what we saw from Black Dragons, for example, when they rotated off of, okay, well, we're going to take offices, and then they faked it out. They did a quick rotate around over to CCTV, even though there was no one from the defensive squad inside CCTV at the time. The rotation and then the run out from the front door was just, it's all you really need as a defender. So we've seen that on Border, the attack meta is heavily favored towards offices. Most teams really do not want to bring it to an A take anymore.
So one of the things that I noticed a lack of seemed to be bringing Buck and playing vertically. I mean, if you know you're inside of monitors, why not go for the Mira? That's right, or at the time we saw it was GCR, who was right on the drop hatch right inside of the monitors room.
Well, the dilemma there is that, of course, you have to hunt down the roamers, and on a map like Border, there's so many places for those roamers to hide. So it's an option, absolutely, to bring the Buck underneath, the Ash underneath, whomever, to disable that mirror window. But it's also very risky, takes a lot of time, and you could lose a player, and then at that point your entire strategy falls apart because the mirror window's not nullified, and then you have to, what do you put another player down there? Maybe try to throw in some grenades with your sledge. I mean, and then it becomes a question of investment versus worth. So the consensus of basically both of those teams we just saw play, but most teams these days, is that, okay, well, we'll just not mess with that for now. It's not worth it. Let's just move our way over to offices. We can make that take happen despite the fact that they have the office walls open.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, we saw, I think that last round, actually, we saw basically the roam game happen where Pulse was underneath. I think GCR, or whoever the Twitch was, ended up getting that kill, and they traded off back and forth. But no, so that was just something that popped up to me. I was like, that could be a way to stop that, because you're saying holding down to monitors, holding onto that CCTV room is paramount to making that defense work.
Well, it's not paramount. It's just how the meta is evolved right now. I mean, we saw defenses work before anyone played in CCTV on defense, right? Like before people played Mira inside there, before Mira even existed in the game, and Mira, by the way, is basically the whole reason this all works. But it's not essential, it's not paramount, it's not the most required feature to holding that side, but it does lend you a whole lot of options as a defensive squad, in that you can easily rotate out of CCTV, whether it be through a drop down or running back into the A bomb site at any time. There's not a lot of risk, whereas the reward is just control over basically two-thirds.
Top floor, yeah.
Yeah, two-thirds of the entire top floor at least.
So we do have our second matchup about to get underway in a few more minutes or so. Our two teams are going to be Pain Gaming and OPK. We're going to take a look at the roster here for Pain Gaming, though. Pain Gaming is a team that played in the last season of the Pro League. Yeah,
they in fact have, for the most part, this roster has been together since for 3 seasons now. Revolt, Spawns, Noted, Yuna, and WAG. I believe it's Yuna and one other person. I'm not sure about the fifth one, forgive me, but Yuna is the only new addition to this roster, relatively speaking. Everybody else has been together for at least, or 3 players of these squad have been together for 3 seasons running now, and they are a very experienced squad, and they're a pretty consistent team. However, they have had some mistakes in the past. I seem to recall, I think it was a 1 versus 5 throw, unfortunately, that denied them access. I think it was to, was it the last LAN? The last season? May have been further back than I'm recalling, but they did accidentally not win a round, which caused them to get knocked out of the running for the season finals. However, they're coming back with a vengeance now, looking to bring themselves further into this Pro League in a more positive way.
Now, of these 5 players, I know of one of them, Noted. And I think just
Most people know
in the
Noted.
general sense, I was going to say, in the North American scene at least,
Right.
most people know Noted.
He's a pretty famous player.
Is he their impact player? Is he the person we should be looking out for today?
I mean, you could say that, yes. Okay, yes, looking out for. Absolutely looking out for. Impact player, I'm not so sure. He has really good days, he has really bad days, but at the same time, when Noted is doing well, 9 times out of 10, this team is winning rounds, winning maps, because the way that Noted tends to play is extremely aggressive. I mean, the stigma with Latin American teams is they're super aggressive. Like, the whole teams, they're all very aggressive. And Noted just exemplifies that. He just brings it all together in one player. He's shift W, he's hit the flick shots, he makes it happen. And again, when he's hitting those shots, when he's actually winning those fights, his team is doing tremendously well. But it's very easily countered by a team that is level-headed and able to receive something like that. So when Noted's doing well, great, yes. But I would say yes, he is the player to watch.
Yep. Awesome. So Pain Gaming, that's our roster for them. Now, our other team is OPK Gaming. What do we know about OPK?
Not a whole lot. They have Panico, Daki, Intact, Drix, and Slash. I do know that Drix is the player to be watching here from OPK. I've been told by numerous Brazilian professional players that he is a beast, similar to what you would expect to see from Nesk, right? When you look at BRK, that's the kind of who you think of. And Drix is apparently that player on this squad who you need to be paying attention to.
I love how we have another Slash, though. That would be awesome to see here. But we do have, so guys, again, with the statistics that you see on page, we've got 0 stats for the moment because they are seasonal stats. And therefore, we don't have anything yet because this is the first time OPK has actually played this season in the Pro League. They will be going up against Pain Gaming.
Okay, so one thing I can say about OPK is that most of these players were deposed from teams that they were on previously. So this is kind of like a I can't say the word, but you know what it is. Conglomerate of players coming together, after they got deposed from their teams, picked off from their teams, like whether they got dropped or left, and they've all come together to make their own squad. They are super aggressive, and they rely a lot on individual skill to get those frags and make the rounds happen. So that is what we are going to be expecting to see from OPK.
So there we have it.
They're also very old school.
They are very old school.
Yeah.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right on that. A good thing to call out. So OPK going up against Pain Gaming. Pain Gaming, like we said, is a team people know. OPK, I'm not entirely sure if they were in the scene.
The majority of these players have been in the scene since the beginning. They're very old school players. They just left this team there, that team there, got removed from this team, and then they all were like, all right, let's just make our own team. Let's come together now and make our own squad. So that's what we have in OPK.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to what you mentioned earlier with regards to Pain Gaming and them unfortunately losing that one-sided round.
Well, that was a long time ago.
No, I actually think that might have been to get to the Lane 1 finals this season.
Well, it might have been.
Or this
all
past season,
all the same, it was a while ago, and unfortunately they did lose it, but now they're going to be looking towards coming back to maybe giving a little bit more of... The one thing that I will say about this matchup, just to cut myself off there, is that Pain Gaming does have a slight edge over OPK in that they have had a little bit more of a consistent roster.
Yes.
The players have been together for a little bit longer. 3 of them have been playing together for 3 seasons straight. So there's going to be a lot of synergy coming out from Pain Gaming, and we can look to see that.
So we are going to get taking a look here at the map bans. Now, I believe we're going to have OPK choosing the bans first, or banning off first. Now, with this, we saw Oregon, we saw Border, and we were going to see Chalet.
Well, we may have seen Chalet.
We were going to, yeah. We may have seen Chalet for that third ban, for that third map. I feel as though, like you said, Border's kind of the top pick now this season. We see it almost every single time.
And it's a good map. I personally don't resent seeing it every time. I think that I would be fine if we played it in every best of 3. I mean, at a certain point it would get wear down on the psyche, sure, but like it's a well-balanced, well-rounded map, and we are seeing some excellent strategy being evolved on it.
We are, and so we're going to have OPK starting off with the bans here. Now, taking a look at OPK and what they might decide to go with here, I mean, obviously we're not going to see the coastline.
Well, if we're talking about really aggressive individual playstyle, which is what they tend to show us, then I'm expecting maps like Cafe, maps like Clubhouse, we're not going to see a whole lot of. I'm guessing one of these teams is going to ban out the Coastline Skyscraper, of course, but I think it's probably going to be Pain Gaming. Bank being banned out there, that might be a counter pick. Again, Kino, if you're going for aggressive play, Bank is one of those maps on defense where you can really hammer that down where you can get a great roam game off because there's so much room to breathe with. And Skyscraper being banned out by Kino, that's a DLC map off the board. I mean, you could analyze a DLC ban, but to be honest, it's just, they probably haven't practiced it.
Yeah, I'm going to say that we're going to get rid of Clubhouse. We're going to get rid of Coastline. There's the Coastline ban. And I think we're going to get rid of Chalet. I feel like we're going to see Border. So Consulate's a map that we've seen in North America and Europe a lot.
Yeah.
I want to say that it also allots for a lot of roaming, a lot of versatility, and a lot of aggression from the Latin American scene as well. So that's why I see that possibly getting picked. There's the Chalet ban.
Chalet banned out. So that's Border, Clubhouse, Consulate, and Oregon now. Now, I think it's going to be Clubhouse. This is the paying game you're going to be banning out here. But it might actually be a counterpick. If you counterpick into Clubhouse, you want to bring yourself to that Clubhouse. Actually, it will get banned out. So, no, Clubhouse getting taken off the board. It's going to be a Consulate, Oregon, and Border. So we will be seeing 2 of the maps we saw played previously. And then the third map, Consulate, will be our 1 rotation. And again, no surprises there.
Not really any surprises. I mean, we constantly talk about Consulate being one of the most versatile maps. Every single bomb site's viable. Border is one of the most favorite maps due to the strategies that have developed on it and the versatility in just picking apart different rooms and being able to have different multiple lines of sights like you just talked about before, having the mirror window inside a CCTV looking throughout basically 2/3 of the entire top floor. The last map, though, being Oregon. Oregon we saw in the last series. Was there anything in the last series on Oregon that you jumped out and said, that's a little bit different? Or, hey, that's
tower defense?
The tower defense?
Tower defense, of course. I mean, it was unsuccessful, but it jumped out as different. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of that specific variation coming out from either of these 2 teams. But it was interesting to see all the same. I mean, it was, something different. Overall, though, on Oregon, it seemed to play out the way that we see Oregon play out time and time again. The attackers clear from west to east. They deny all of the roamers for the basement hold. Then once they have denied all of the roamers, they start to work their way into meeting hall. They establish control over the drop downs. They push into the site, kill the remaining anchors. On an upstairs attack, sometimes they'll still clear from west to east. Sometimes they'll go for an armory and master take. Sometimes they'll go for a B windows tower take. There is no real surprise coming out on that particular map that we saw.
Yeah, and so with Oregon, I mean, one of the things that called out to me, we've seen it before, a couple 4-man offsite roams on Oregon, but the one that threw that
I mean, a 4-man offsite roam isn't abnormal either.
It's not abnormal. No, it's not that abnormal. What stuck out to me was the smoke playing up in Kid's bedroom. So like we've talked about, okay, Smoke is very versatile. He can play that, but at the same time, how many other teams have we seen throw a smoke off-site? Not many.
We've seen it before, a couple times, and it does make sense. If you think about it, Smoke is an operator who is really good at roaming because it's for the same reason he's really good at anchoring, in that he can block off a lane for X amount of time, however long you choose to space out your smokes for. And if you do that as a roamer, you're doing your job as a roamer. You're wasting time, so much of it, in fact. Then there's nothing the attackers can really do about it if you position yourself well. So Smoke makes sense as a roamer. Putting that mirror window upstairs in the big kid's room and that angle down into the main hallway was extremely efficient. It means that they had with that one position, with that one smoke playing on that mirror window and that one hole down into the hallway, they drew a line in the sand throughout the entire west side of the building. Just one whole big line in the sand. No one could cross it without contesting a smoke. Because he also had shotgun holes above the door into kitchen. So,
so there's our 3 maps so far. We're going to continue talking a little bit about Border, about Consulate, and about Oregon. With Consulate, though, do you see one of these teams more so than the other going to that middle floor bomb site? Yes, like we constantly talk about. Okay, any of them could do anything.
It could do anything on any of the bomb sites. Again, we've talked about this before. They're all defendable. All right, so looks like we might have some map picks coming out. We'll see where exactly it is that we're actually going to be going. OPK is going to be the ones to start us off. Pain Gaming are going to get a second pick, and then it is going to be the third map will be the decider map.
All right, so looks like Consulate's going to be our first map of the evening here for this series.
That's good because we haven't seen Consulate played yet today. So some exciting variation coming out already from OPK.
Means it's either going to be a Border or Oregon, and in other regions we've typically seen Oregon or Chalet. No, not even Chalet. Sorry, Oregon or Border. I want to say, right there it is. Anyways, Border. I was going to say Oregon seems like one of the maps that tends to be a decider map.
Yeah, no, that does it makes sense. I mean, we saw it played earlier in the 2-0, but it does often find itself in the decider map slot. So, Consulate, Border, and Oregon are going to be our 3 maps. We're going to be starting things out on Consulate. This is going to be OPK's pick, and they will start on on attack. Pain Gaming, Border, and will also start on attack. Both these teams opting to choose the defensive side first. Because the way that it works is because OPK picked Consulate, that means Pain Gaming, they wanted to go on defense, so OPK will be going on attack.
Yeah.
And then vice versa.
So with Consulate, and we're gonna see, like, we're obviously gonna see the top 4 site. We might see the bottom or the first 4 site. We almost always see a team push in through admin when it comes to that top 4 bomb site on Consulate.
Mm-hmm.
What are the variations of that top 4? Or what are the different variations to take over admin that you've seen here in the Pro League?
Well, you know, the thing about Consulate is that you can really address any of the sites from all of the different angles, right? It's like an orb. Each of the sites are like an orb. You can kind of go at it from here, here, here. You know, you can do whatever you want as an attacker. It just really depends on how the lines line up best for you. And admin is usually addressed first because it is the furthest away from the main defensive orb, where everybody else is situating themselves to hold. And if there is anyone from the defensive squad playing inside admin, then they usually get picked off. But you know, you get droned, you get marked, and then you get shot through the little wooden things. And then after that, I mean, there's other variations of the strat. Sure, I mean, you can go and rappel into the B windows, hold the run out from the yellow stairs and the garage, and then just start to try and work your Blackbeard going into the B bomb site. However, it's taking a huge risk in that you have to invest so much into covering those runouts, and that's why we see an admin take so often played, is because why would we want to invest in holding the runout? I mean, you can play someone on the A site balcony, which couples into an admin take, and you don't have to watch his run out. You don't have to worry about it because he's not exposed. He's got the little bars next to him on the balcony, and he can challenge that as much as he wants to. And that's why we see Blackbeard go there 9 times out of 10. So admin take is definitely the meta. There are other ways to handle it. I mean, you could even come in through the front door, open up from below, and start to try to kill the anchors that way. But it's just, you know, it's what works. It's what people play.
So thinking about, I mean, obviously it depends on how the defense is set up. Before a first floor bomb site, how have you typically seen attackers try to push their way onto taking at least
similar?
Where do you start? So they start up in admin every time?
Yeah, people usually take from admin, try to clear out the top, then start to look down.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple different ways to handle that, though. A thing about a lobby attack is that it's a less refined sort of floor.
Yep.
I mean, sure, you see it played, and you know, often at that, but it is not as refined as we were seeing top floor being, as that's usually the main bomb site that everyone else wants to bring you to when they're on defense. So when you're going into a lobby attack, you can come in through the main garage, you can start to open up from below, you can come in through the B windows, well, what would be the B windows in CEO, and you can start to apply pressure from below, on top of piano, and then come in through the front windows. I'm not sure exactly which direction that would be, but the front windows on the front of the building. And then just get the diffuse plan. I mean, we've seen multiple different ways of handling it, and again, each of these floors are kind of addressable from any different angle, and that's the great thing about Consulate.
Now, we might be playing Border first. I'm not entirely sure about that. We might have the maps flipped over. We'll have to take a look. But with that, I mean, so since we might be doing Border first, we'll have to stay tuned and see. With Border being the potential first map, obviously we're going to see that top 4 bomb site. Now, with looking back at our first matchup here with Black Dragons going up against, see what we just witnessed. INTZ. We didn't see INTZ trade off or move off of that bomb site. They tried 3 times in a row. They got, I want to say, lucky. I'll say lucky. They took some skill, but they got lucky on the rotation with Jaeger still being down there getting the double kill. Why do you think they didn't move off and decided to stay there?
Well, I think that the rotation wasn't really necessary. I talked about that earlier during the match, but I think that they were just really confident in their armory defense, didn't want to risk the ventilation defense. And they'd read into that at that point.
So we are staying on Consulate. That was my mistake there for the miscommunication. Now, Consulate's going to be our first map of the day. We are going to see this go downstairs into the garage site, starting with Amira, Bandit, Valkyrie, Jaeger, and Smoke.
Yep. So garage, the first defended site on this particular map, that's not necessarily abnormal. I mean, usually we see the upstairs bomb site defended first, but Pain just, you know, slight variation. I mean, it's really difficult to be surprised by the defending site, on this particular map, no matter where it is the team decides to go. Sometimes you can be caught a little bit off guard by a lobby defense, but nah, not really. So Pain Gaming then, starting themselves off on defense. OPK starting themselves off on offense.
Now this is looking like we're going to see a very heavy-sided attack or defense on the first floor. Again, maintaining control over this piano room is definitely going to prove to be useful for the defenders. Obviously, making sure that they can't necessarily see and get rid of the mirror windows or the batteries on the garage window, or the garage walls.
Right. And here you can see this some very aggressive play coming out from Noted here. At least I believe that's Noted, Noted A. He's going to be playing in the circle desk in main lobby. This is a really big risk to take for his team. If he gets picked off without being able to influence the round that early, could be bad. We're going to have the attackers situating themselves out on the east, nope, sorry, the east side of the building, I was correct. They are going to be pushing their way into Visa. It looks like it might be, it's entirely possible that we will see an Archives take, but that, you know, honestly, we don't see that very much at all.
So the one thing to mention here to note is that Noted's knee might be sticking out of that wall or out of the siding of the reception desk. So if that's the case, he might just be banged there. We are going to see Dry though moving, or Drix moving towards the front lobby.
Yeah, and this is that player again that you want to be keeping an eye out for. Drix is usually that player who on OPK who tends to step up and hit those frags, make it happen. So going into admin all the way upstairs on a basement attack. There's still plenty of time. Looks like they're just trying to establish control over top of Visa so that they can easily push in, so that they can get that Archives Hall take out of the way. So and that's actually might play to their advantage here, as I'm not sure where that mirror window is facing, but it was most likely towards the garage, which means that while, yes, there are defenders ready to receive this attack coming out from Intact right now, there is not utility. As you can see, that mirror window is backwards.
So Intact is going to go for these shots here, but the mirror is going to drop him down with a headshot, and that's going to be two mans coming out on front.
Yeah, and you can see here, OPK, their entire strategy seems to be falling apart because, look at them. I mean, they have to funnel their way in through a single door. They don't have a lot of other options here, really. All they have control over is Visa. I like the variation here coming out from OPK, trying to mix things up, bring it to a different engagement instead of simply trying to open up the garage. But as you can see here, as Mans picks off Slash. Oh, the trade back for Panico, though.
Now we do have another engagement, a little firefight coming back and forth. Looks like RVK is going to take out Panico. So a 4-on-2, you still have Drix and Docky, last two alive. And we're going to have Drix moving on down the circle stairs as Docky forces his way, very cautiously though, through the Visa stairwell. Now Gas Grenade is going to force him over here towards that kitchen entrance. This is where we've seen multiple kills now and again. Looks like Noted will fall, however Wag is going to try to re-engage here, and he will fall as well. Drix coming up with a strong 2K right there. Docky trying to go for some more bullets here. He's going to down him and finish up with the shot there. And now it's a one-on-one. It's now all up to Drix here to try to push on in for the shots. He knows he's got him locked on down. Goes for the kill, but misses, and we will have Spawns come out on top. And Pain Gaming will secure round one.
A very intense round to start things off here, and a very interesting attack strategy coming out from OPK. Trying to come in through that locker hallway all the way back by Archives is a risky business, to say the least. I see the only time I've ever seen that work, by the way, let's just go ahead and cut to it. The only time I've seen that attack strategy work is when it's a full-fledged rush, where the attackers, they open up that Visa doorway and they just rocket down the Visa stairs and find themselves into the B bomb site. That's the only time I've seen that work. So whenever you get stalled out as an attacking squad in those locker hallways, I mean, usually you just get picked off one by one by one. And we are going to be seeing OPK now, not going to be defending the basement. They are going to instead opt to defend upstairs.
I think the reason that is that you need to go in with a rush instead of taking your time and
two
being
doorways.
very cautious, because there are only two doorways. There's
Yeah.
no extra walls, no soft walls to get into the site or get into the office very easily.
Yeah, how are you going to apply pressure? You know, how are you going to deny an angle or 90-degree hold from any of the defenders? What are you going to do? Because you don't have a buck above them trying to open up holes, you know, above kitchen or opening up the drop down even in lobby. So your options are super limited. I mean. And now going on to the defense of the upstairs bomb site, looks like we're going to be seeing quite a very heavily situated defense. This looks like it's the OPK is trying to set themselves up to hold A right now. You can see Noted doing his Noted thing. I think he may have invented that, but he does it more often than anyone else I know, regardless, and that the double melee on the bottom of a barricade you can just kind of prone in through. trying to get that aggressive play, get those picks off on the roamers, but there are none in Visa right now. They're going to start to drone their way up into admin. It looks like it might be very typical admin A bomb site take, but they're starting themselves out on the first floor rather than the top floor.
We will have spawns going to open up that castle barricade, and again, that might help expose the mirror window facing into the A site. We saw that on Noted's drone earlier.
Yeah, and that'll give Pain Gaming quite a lot more options moving into this attack. They are going to have spawns. Looks like he's going to be going into admin already with still 2 minutes, plenty of time left to go. That's going to give you a lot of control already for Pain early on, but OPK are going to lose Panico to start things off here to Spawns. As Spawns progresses his way in through the admin office, that contention from the Jaeger will be denied.
Now Spawns is going to work his way into printer office over here, right next to the soda machines, where it looks like we might be having the Bandit. No, I'm sorry, Bandit's going to, yeah, Bandit's going to go for the pre-fire here onto Spawns. We're holding a little shorter, smaller angle, but it looks as though Mans is going to come in strong with that 5.56 to finish off Slash. He was going to work his way in here, get rid of the barbed wire, as Wag and Mans are both forcing their way in from the E stairwell into the B site, or the A site. Flashbang's going to go out to the connector. We're going to see Mans work his way even closer. Noted looks as though he's going to be on the yellow stairs. Right behind the reception desk at the top floor is still going to be another member. That's actually going to be Mira. Now it looks as though Mans is getting tagged here with a couple shots, and that's going to be Spawns. No, that's Noted coming in strong with a double kill as Spawns finishes off the Mira here, and that will be Dox, or Drix. Sorry, going on down.
I am very disappointed that we did not get to see those 2 Noted kills. I'm sure they were insane. It looks like he just kind of ran in and killed 2 people in the course of a second. However, overall, very clear, or good clear there coming out from Pain Gaming. Had all of their bases covered. You could see there they opened up the castle barricade on the spiral stairs, which meant that they opened up reception from behind, which meant that a mirror window looking into the A bomb site wasn't entirely as useful as it could have been if that weren't the case. They also took control of admin before they made the push into A, which means they had control of a reception hallway, which means that, again, there was a lot of pressure on that mirror to stay alive. And now, Pain Gaming going to be going on to their second defense upstairs. We'll see how they choose to set themselves up here. They're going to be using the same sort of thing. They do not have a Mira on the board, but they have instead opted to bring a Pulse. I do not believe OPK brought a Pulse. With that Pulse, it's going to be extremely useful, used downstairs, and that he can C4 any diffuse plant attempts coming out from OPK.
Yeah, it looks as though they've traded out that Mira. They've brought in the Doc. The Pulse we're also seeing come into the works here, as well as the Rook. We are starting to see this 3 armored setup.
3 armor meta? Is it a thing? Ladies and gentlemen, find out as they attempt to play it out this particular round. We haven't seen the 3 armor meta used in a long, long time. I think since, consistently used in a long, long time. But it's cool to see Pain Gaming trying to make it happen.
Will spot Noted still being down here at the Visa office, waiting for some information. He's right now just trying to dodge the drones and waiting for someone to either peek out through the window or the doorway. He's just waiting for some window to be hit, and he'll most likely go for a little peek.
He's very exposed here. As soon as he gets droned out, he's going to be putting himself at a severe disadvantage and will likely be picked off. However, if there's anyone who's going to hit the shot, it's going to be him. Spawns, meanwhile, will run outside on the A balcony and pick off Slash. That's the Blackbeard off the board. That is a tremendous amount of pressure. Now, I often say that, but do not underestimate the pressure of a Blackbeard on an A balcony on this particular attack. That means that there is an entire factor the defenders don't have to think about at all leading into the rest of this round.
Now, Mans is going to overheal himself as he is being tormented by the drone, as Intact is also laying down his own bit of pressure. He's going to be tucked around inside the corner as Wag, I think, is by soda machines. Now, we will see... I believe that is going to be the Spawn. Yeah, that is Spawn getting finished off by Docky. Flashbang's going to go, and unfortunately that will not get Mans. He's still going to be right behind the cubicle. He's going to swing around and tag the headshot into attack as Drix will fall to Noted. Now another overheal is going to happen. Notice going to peek on out. Goes for a second kills, but it's detected. He's got to hop back in with the rest of his team, and it's a 4-on-2. A very aggressive push here by Noted.
Yeah, Noted seems to be on point today, which bodes extremely well for Pain Gaming overall. Again, when he's having a good day, he absolutely frags out. Now a 2 versus 4, 1 minute left to go. OPK don't have a whole lot of options here, but they're going to try and progress on what they do have. There is no barbed wire on the spiral doorway, which means Docky might have some opportunities to get a couple kills here, maybe on the 3 armors who are residing in admin right now.
Wag is going to be coming out of the printer office here momentarily, and last time he was seen right by the soda machine, so I don't know if Docky's going to get this kill or if he's going to move in closely. It will not happen as Mans comes on out of the office, out of admin, and Noted picks up the final kill onto Panico. We're now seeing a 3-0 lead here by Pain Gaming.
Very decisive lead at that. These rounds are definitely coming. They're not very close, let's be honest. I mean, Pain Gaming has been having a really good go of it so far in this particular matchup. You can see OPK struggling to get their frags onto the board here. And now they are going to be putting on themselves onto defense. And they're going to have to try and make something happen. If they do not win this round, we're going to see match point. And the round that, the site that they choose to use to attempt to bring themselves back into the match is lobby. They could go to anywhere they please, and they choose lobby.
I like it. To me, it shows that they're confident in this site and that they've worked on it. So hopefully that confidence will overflow into a victory on this round.
If there's any one site that you want to rely on individual play to succeed, it's lobby. So I think this is going to play to OPK's strengths, and I think that this is exactly what we needed to see for them to bring themselves back into this map. However, Pain Gaming have been seeming very strong, very dominant on this map so far, so it's still going to be quite a task for OPK to make the comeback happen.
And Noted still starting out here by Visa Office, going to most likely do his little double tap at the bottom corner,
look at that.
get in.
Called it.
However, going so slowly through that does allow for Hello. Going to rethink that C4 toss.
Yeah, Noted being taken off the board early on, like he said, because he had to go slow. Because of that, Pain Gaming are now in a again, this is the sort of situation that happens with Pain Gaming. If Noted gets picked off, he doesn't make anything happen in a round, then it's, a lot of the pressure is put on to Pain Gaming to make it, or the rest of the team to make it happen, and it's very difficult. You need to have that entry fragger who can just make the kills appear to start to open up your options as an attacking squad. And he's gone right now. So we're likely to see some more slow play coming out of Pain Gaming leading into the rest of this round. They still have no real control over the entirety of the building. They're looking for options, holding angles, but it's just not happening.
We are going to have a 4-1 split, though, with 3 members at the very top, and Pulse, that's going to be Docky on the yellow stairs off-site. So it is looking like we are going to need to see Pain Gaming work their way to take over that top floor if they want to get this plant down.
They're entirely situated around the yellow stairs as of this particular moment, looking for the options, but they are going to have to contest with the heartbeat detector coming out from Docky. That's a lot of information Docky is gathering right now. He can say, all right, there's only half the round left, and 2 of them are outside yellow stairs. That means they must be coming from the northwest.
So I believe we're going to see Docky jump on out here because he realized that on the half wall of the brick, he sees that there's going to be one. He knows the only other person is going to be right under the window, possibly underneath of the stairs. He will not hop on now. He will get detected and move back upstairs in line of sight of Spawns. It takes an SMG-11 to his face, dropping him down. Mans grabs a kill on a Panico. A 2-on-4 now, with Mans just finishing off another member here from OPK.
And here's going to be the knife kill coming out from Mans. Meanwhile, Slash gets a C4 onto Spawns, and now a 1 versus 3. It's going to be all down to Slash. He does have the MPX. He's got that rate of fire. He is down and out for all of his black eyes in C4. Needs to find these 2 players who are in the closest proximity. We're going to have Mans playing on the bomb. He will spot him. He will get the headshot.
And he's going to be moving forward, a 2-on-1 Slash trying to win this with about 10 health left to go. Wag's already navigated outside towards the beginning of the spawn. RVK coming on over. He is getting spotted out, however, so he's going to try to rotate on over. Slash trying to come in from the back corridor, moving in towards the back of the reception area. He might be spotting RVK here momentarily. Sees the shot, but misses his target. We are going to have RVK win round number 4 here for Pain Gaming.
So not a lot of spontaneous aggression, as you can tell from Pain Gaming after they lost Noted. However, very well teamwork-oriented aggression in that they were on that northwest side of the building and they just kind of collapsed together as a team. They droned each other in, and it played very well to their strengths. As you can see, that core 4 outside of Noted are perfectly capable of winning the rounds by themselves. You can see their Mans doing some fantastic work, as well as Spawns stepping up for their team. You still have a donut on a team that's got a 4-0 lead right now. I mean, that just goes to show how the kills are happening here for Pain Gaming right now.
That also just goes to show that Pain Gaming has specified very, we'll call it specific roles for their players. Some are dedicated to getting those frags, others are dedicated to droning out so their teammates can get those frags. And see, that's what WAG has been trying to do here.
Yeah, now OPK, match point, guys. You got to start stepping it up, start winning these rounds in order to not be bringing yourself onto the map number 2, 5-0. And I mean, losing a map 5-0 is very demoralizing. Now, Pain Gaming going to be onto the basement defense. They were successful here previously, obviously, but by the scoreline. And they will be trying to make it happen yet again. Now, what we saw from OPK on the first round, which is where this particular defense took place last time, was that OPK went for that Locker Hall archive stake, and they just kind of stalled out, and they lost a round. They got picked off one by one as they tried to progress their way in through the doorways. Again, as we talked about, there's only 2 doorways from Locker Hall into archives. So easy to get bottlenecked there. Now it looks like OPK is going to be sort of going for a little bit more of a spread out take, not going for straight archives initially right off the bat. Looking for options here. Oh, noted.
He's sitting right underneath of the line of sight of Intact. Intact's going to peek on around and be taken on out by Noted, who's been there for 45 seconds.
Okay, I have to be honest, that is just a crazy spot. Guys, pay attention in ranked. You're going to see that played a lot. You're going to see some guy open up the yellow stairs doorway and sit prone there until he gets droned out or he gets a kill.
Now we are going to have one member drop on outside of the corner office. That's going to be the Bandit. That's RVK, and he actually sneaks on back in through the Noted hole. Now Drix is unable to get that kill. He's taking massive damage in return, and RVK is going to be able to whimper on back to site. How does that happen? Where's the rest of the team? Why aren't they helping out there?
It's unfortunate that OPK did not have full coverage over the top of... Oh my god.
Oh, we still have Spawns who's out here. Spawns, the garage has not been opened up, so Spawns is just wasting time.
Oh, they're going to Twitch drone him. He only has 1 HP. He might get downed by the Twitch drone.
And he will.
He did get downed by the Twitch drone and finished off by Panico. But all the same, OPK, oh wow, as I say that, a 2v2 now, as Docky gets a swift double kill onto Mans and Noted. 2 of the top players on that on Pain Gaming to start things off here on this first map.
So Wags and RVK are going to be the last 2 alive. Gas Grenade is going to come out, try to force Docky on over to the hallway. One of the things that I've found out it's difficult from time to time is once you become super hyper-aggressive towards the very beginning of a round, such as RVK, trying to tone it down when you need to. You typically stay in that heightened sense, and you ultimately sometimes overlook opportunities or just become too aggressive. But it looks like that might not be the case, as Panico's going to be the last man. If he hops into the kitchen, looking for that shot there onto Wag, and it looks like Wag will finally get that donut off the board as he takes that headshot into Panico. And we're going to have map number 1 into the hands of Pain Gaming 5-0.
Could we possibly see a 10-0 going on to our second map, which will be, I believe, a border, or will it be the map that OPK needs to make the comeback happen? That is the question. So on that last round, OPK just kind of hovered around basically everything. They hovered around Locker Hall, they hovered around outside Garage, they hovered around outside Yellow, got picked off one by one by the aggressive plays coming out from Pain, and there wasn't really much else to say about that.
Yep, so with that, I mean, OPK seeming like they're struggling on that map. They did try the first floor, they tried the basement, or they tried the top floor in the basement. It didn't work out at all for them.
Nope, no, it did not.
But that does mean that Pain Gaming secured map number 1. We're going to get underway with map number 2 in a little bit, but we will move on to highlights here in a short moment. But taking a look at Pain Gaming's style of play, like you said,
aggressive.
Aggressive. They revolve around Noted.
Well, they don't revolve around Noted necessarily. What you can see from their play there is that Noted plays as a player who is separate from the rest of the team, right? He doesn't, he doesn't have to be part of that 4-man squad that makes the push into the site as a unit, as a cohesive squad. And he just kind of gets frags when he gets frags. Oh, there's the knife from Mans. Mans also played a fantastic match today. Some really great frags coming out from him in this particular matchup. But yeah, he just plays separately. It doesn't mean that he plays, I don't know, it's just independence.
So what makes Noted Noted then? Like, what makes him so efficient, so effective? Is it his randomness? Is it his unpredictability? Is it his gun? Well, obviously his gunplay.
Well,
but what makes him stand out from other teams that try to go 4-1?
Well, he puts himself in that position right? And I think the main thing about him is that he hits the shots, right? He makes it happen. So sometimes you'll have a player who he's the fourth man out, like you said, or the fifth man out, excuse me, and he plays a little bit too aggressively, gets picked off more often than not. Noted usually has good success. I mean, that's pretty much what there is to say about Noted. But we are
getting underway here in Border at the moment. So OPK is going to be starting on attack as Pain Gaming kicking it off on defense to start off map number 2 of the final series. Now, we do have a glass coming out of the woodwork here.
Yeah, and we are seeing OPK starting on attack, like you said, Pain starting on defense, Hibana, Ash, Thatcher, Thermite, and Glaz coming out for OPK, Mira, Bandit, Valkyrie, Jaeger, and Smoke for Pain Gaming. They're also going to be starting on Arsenal, Armory, upstairs defense, what we expect to see on Border. The question is, are we going to be seeing that mirror window that we see time and time again in the CCTV that gives so much control over offices and CCTV itself? I think we are. I think it's safe to say that we are, but we'll find out if Pain is on the board with everybody else there and that message. They are actually reinforcing the walls, the westmost walls of the fountain. That's going to deny that mirror window of any use towards offices, so maybe it is going to be a different setup here coming from Pain, and this is really intriguing to see, to say the least.
Curious on where the mirror windows are going to be placed, because they are not putting them, they're not reinforcing the walls on the east side of the fountain, which you've typically seen sometimes to hold office. Instead, it looks like we might be seeing them inside of the middle of lockers, facing the west balcony. Or possibly the double mirror strat here coming from Mans.
Could be a double mirror strat. I mean, they have a lot of options, and one thing I like to see is when those mirror windows go down late, after you figure out where the attack is coming from, because pre-placing them, yes, so you can predict where the attack's going to come from. I mean, it's usually, on most sites, it's one of 2 ways or one of 3 ways, so you don't have a lot to really guess at there. But at the same time, when you can effectively place 2 mirror windows on the same avenue that the attackers are coming from, then that doubles up on the usefulness of them, and, you know, can be very, very useful. The attack, however, is kind of hashing out here as OPK have established control over east stairs, or at least top of east stairs, before they push their way into what looks like it's going to be offices. Like you said, there's that glass there. It's going to be a lot of pushing power when they eventually make their way into the office itself.
Now, a little bit of a late reinforcement coming out of Wags, and therefore he almost takes some bullets to the chest, but just barely gets up that barricade in time. So Wags will be chosen as the candidate to stay inside of the office, try to hold it down as much as he can. Now, this is a good position to do that in, but there is no bandit to stop that. So the wall will get opened up, and it will mean Wags is going to have to force his way forward or fight it. Yeah, at the moment is going to stay prone as the Hibana pellets were about shoulder level.
Those are, yeah, you can, I'd probably even crouch underneath those, to be honest. So it's kind of surprising that they came out where they did. That's going to allow the smoke to play inside offices for much, much longer as OPK now pivot around this northeast balcony. They are starting to waste away the time.
They are, and with that gas grenade now fogging the eyes of Wag, that will allow the east wall of archives to get opened up as we just see Intact looking on through. Now Wags will skedaddle on out, follow the tellers, and possibly come around through the east stairwell. And I think he did so undetected. We are also going to have Noted fall down into the servers. So with these drop hatches being pre-opened, it will allow for some rotation to happen, especially if they can do that undetected. It might just be the flank that OPK is not expecting here. So 45 seconds to go, a 5-on-5. There's some shots coming out of Wags, but misses his target onto Slash. We'll see Wag try to move on out of the middle atrium. Noted's worked his way back up the west stairwell as Wag still underneath, going over to the west as well. We're also going to see spawns fall. So it's just time after time we're seeing the defenders fall, rotate, back onto site. A C4 kill from Mans, though, will take out Intact. And we're going to see Slash now moving on in from the archives, or from Fountain, into the Archives Lounge now. We still have Drix, who's getting into a little bit of an engagement here. We're going to see a double kill happen from Slash as he tags 2. He's going to tag 3 now with a 3K. He's got 2 men left to go. It's going to be Spawns and Wags. Wag coming around, tags onto 1. It's going to be no kill here as Spawns will take him down. And we will have Panico coming on up from behind to grab Spawns and Wags. Round number 1 going to the hands of OPK.
Very chaotic cluster engagement there happening towards the end in those offices. Now, you can attribute that victory almost single-handedly to that glass play. utilizing those smokes to his advantage and getting that nice 3K. If it weren't for that, would have seen a much more concise collapse coming out from Pain Gaming, but all the same, OPK managed to get their first win of this entire series.
So no 10-0.
No 10-0, no sir. Could still be a 10-1, but not a 10-0 for sure.
Now OPK looked a lot more clean and concise on that one, especially with Slash grabbing that 3K.
Yeah, that was a really good take coming out from OPK. I mean, it was a little bit slow in their taking of the offices. They spent a little bit too much time trying to make that happen. But when they eventually did, they started pushing to the site, they collapsed, it worked to their advantage. So that's all that really matters. Pain Gaming now going on to attack, and we are going to be seeing OPK surprisingly defending the ventilation room first rather than Armory. We see Armory defended first time 9 times out of 10 on this particular building, map, what have you. And just not this time, no sir. You can see clearly here OPK are going to invest very heavily upstairs, trying to maintain that control as much as they possibly can. And that means that they are going to be able to deny any plant in the site as long as they have somebody still above with line of sight into, yeah, you guessed it, the bomb site.
Yep, so here's a 4-1 split coming out of OPK as they try to hold the top floor.
You can see here Wag and Noted trying to together close off this atrium, as you said, and the tellers to get, nice little duo roam there. Also going to have Noted progress his way up these east stairs as he starts to look for opportunities to pick off roamers.
Now he's working very slowly. You do have RVK who is droning out the site for him, or droning out above.
Yeah, I was about to say, you have a lot of people droning for Noted right now, as well as the other roam clears, which is affording them a lot of just like time, basically. You don't have to spend the time clearing it with your eyeballs. You can have somebody else do it for you. It's very good for your team.
Now the castle barricades are going to force Noted to actually use those breaching charges, open up the middle doorway. They're possibly able to pick off Slash, but he's able to rotate off just in time. Wag's going to be droning out here on that west window, or west balcony here. And Noted looks like he wants to make a push in, but there is barbed wire going to stop that immediate rush. With Intact trying to make sure that he can get some shots. He is going to be tagged off. He's behind the half wall at the moment. Spawns though, still trying to push in from the archives, or from the archives and Fountain. But Intact will take down Noted with that SMG-11.
That means Wag is the only one left to contest this A wall. However, he is going to flash out Intact.
Looks as though he tries to run blinded, but Wag pushes in to take him down. Spawns will fall by Panico, and now we have just one member left on top floor, and that's going to be Slash, but he does fall by Mans.
C4 coming out from underneath. I believe that may have been the Mira C4. Was not successful in killing anything. It actually may have been the Valkyrie. Either way, didn't grab anybody, and now a 3-on-3. But the attackers have control of the top floor, which means they have complete dominance. All they have to do is start opening up holes one by one by one. Go for those picks.
So Mans still looking to get above the ventilation room, which he is right now, seeing who can actually pick off a well-placed breaching charge. He's able to see into both sites and the walls of both sites, which will easily help him take out some angles. However, the C4 from Drix coming out strong, finishing off Wags as RVK will fall to Panico. Last minute alive is going to be Mans on a 3-on-1. 15 seconds left to go. He's either going to have to go down the west stairwell or drop through the hatch. He has Diffuser. He's already gone down, and it looks like he will have here the shots on the Panico, but we will have Daki finishing him off for round number 2.
And you can see there, I mean, that was a really nice hold there coming out from OPK. That's 2-0 now. They're putting themselves in a similar position to what we saw Pain put themselves in on Consulate. However, what the main thing to note there is I really like that C4 we saw come out from Drix, because he threw that C4, noticed that nobody was on top of it, didn't detonate it, waited for somebody to step over it again, and then got the kill. Instead of what most pros would do is just throw it and detonate it instantly, like it was a grenade or something. He actually had employed a little bit of patience, and that was really great to see. Overall, the round progressed a little bit counter to what I was expecting. Once Pain had established control over the top floor, it was looking like it was going to go their way, but they pivoted off that upstairs control, opted not to utilize it to the fullest of their ability, and because of that, got picked off one by one as they progressed into the site onto the anchors who were holding angles. So now, 2-0 Pain Gaming thrust back onto defense. Looks like they will be defending, I believe that's the top floor yet again. Pain Gaming not going to experiment with the ventilation to start things off here. Well, to continue things off here, I suppose. Go ahead.
I feel one of the reasons that C4, like you talked about, was not detonated right away. I think one of the reasons that was successful was because the attackers had already blown open a portion of that floor.
Right.
You don't want to pre-place the C4 because you don't know exactly where the attackers are going to open up the floor. But if you can get it there after the floor has been opened up in a few seconds notice, yes, you can keep it there for a few more moments until you can get that C4 kill.
Right. Now noted with the aggressive roam coming up from the front door, OPK meanwhile situating themselves. Looks like they're going to want to take from the east. Similar to what we've seen time and time again on this map. Again, it's really interesting. Pain Gaming, they boycott CCTV. They do not hold it, which is just counter to the way that we're seeing the meta evolve in this current state. In that having CCTV control lends you a lot of control over the offices as a whole.
Again, we're going to see this late reinforcement coming out from Wang.
I wonder why it's so late.
This is actually inside a fountain. It wasn't at the same spot as before.
Well, still though.
Still late reinforcement, you're right.
As a smoke, you put 2 barbed wire down, and then you got construction job, I suppose, with the shotgun. But you can still reinforce before the rounds begins. You can see there the mirror window going up, and the Hibana charge is coming up at the same exact time. They know what's happening, both of these teams, and they are ready to deal with it. Mirror window, I believe, was disabled because of that. We'll see the aggression from OPK get even more so as they move their way into offices.
Now Wags is going to be put in a vulnerable position with the soft wall to his right side. It is typically a pre-fire spot for some. Let's see if it does get opened up. We're going to watch Slash, though, outside of the office as he progresses forward. Valcam's going to spot him out moving in. And therefore, we might see a couple shots come on through. Noda looking like he might want to go for a pre-fire from the lockers towards him, but that will not happen just yet. Smoke grenades coming out. Now, I don't know if Slash is going to look hard left, but he has to, because there's going to be a smoke there. That's going to be Wag. Now, that is going to gas him out. He's down to about 50 health. Down to him. Some shots are coming up flying, and he will be taken out by Slash, but not after doing so much damage that Spawns is able to talk up through throw up that C4 and finish off the glass. A 4-on-4 now, 45 seconds left to go. Donkey's going to get his head just barely scraped there by Noted and able to walk away. 40 seconds left.
The attack now are just looking for opportunities here. With only 30 seconds, they still have to deal with a Noted roam, and there's still players very spread out on the attacking squad. Doc is going to get downed and taken out by Spawns, now at 3-on-4, but the trade back.
Though, will take down the trade there on the Spawns. You still have Noted who's working his way on the east stairwell. He wants to come on in. He's going to be flying right in from behind. Last two alive going to be Drix and Panico. Drix will get tagged, but not down just yet. He's going to be swinging around here from the offices, and he will be tagged on down here, finishing him off, and that will be it for now. He's going to get picked up from behind, though, by Panico. Now it's a one-on-one with RVK trying to go into the middle hallway push with a shot, but it won't happen as the defenders will win due to lack of time.
Extremely chaotic rounds going into the last couple seconds of each and every one. I mean, it's like for both of these teams on their attack, they play so safe, they play passive, and then in the last 30 seconds, they're like, all right, explosive aggression, go! And that's what we're seeing time and time again.
I don't think there was a teabag. I think he just stepped over the body and it bounced up and down, and then he just
It could have been. It could have been. Odd angle. Doesn't really matter. Moving into this round, we now have Pain Gaming bringing themselves onto the board, 2 versus 1. And they are going to be attacking, I believe that is a armory hold, as OPK opted to defend ventilation first. So it's going to be curious to see how OPK choose to hold this. As they only went to ventilation, we don't really know how they do. They might bring that mirror window we've seen time and time again into CCTV, which has been extremely useful, and it'd be really cool to see it utilized in this matchup. But nope, they are going to reinforce these walls on the fountain, which means we will not be seeing that same mirror window.
Instead, we're going to see the one to the left side facing the triple walls of the east office, which has generally been more of a predictable mirror placement.
Well, it's a little bit of an older meta mirror placement. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of teams just kind of adapt to the CCTV hold, but yeah, these guys are sticking with their ways, you know, not wanting to take that risk going into this particular Pro League match. Sometimes when you're so close to your Pro League match, it becomes to your detriment to adjust your strategy you know, it can be really risky. Noted, as you can see here, going to be taking control of the entire atrium basically by himself here. Wag, however, is droning from Tellers. This is the same exact roam clear we have seen coming out from Pain Gaming each and every one of these attacks so far, I believe.
Spawns is going to be on this east balcony, working his way towards office. On the other side of that singular wall will be one of the defenders, and it looks like Spawns is going to say, nope, let's re-evaluate our options and push on off the east balcony and regroup with his team. Now, typically what we've seen in the past rounds has been people droning out for Noted. This looks like he might be droning for himself as he tries to push into servers.
Just trying to gain as much information as possible. I mean, it's usually if someone's droning out for the roam clearer, then that means that everyone else has a job that's like a little bit more important to be handled. On a map like Border, there's a lot to be droned out. I mean, there's tons. And Noted may as well chip in, try and assist in that roam clear by doing his part with the droners. I don't think there are very many roamers coming out from OPK, though. I think majority of them are sitting on the site right now, waiting for the pressure directly into the site itself. This mirror window has been opened up, looks like, and that means that Pain Gaming have a whole lot of options here on this bomb site attack. The mirror window being open means that this small office is effectively nullified for the defenders. Slash would have to get very, very lucky while he challenges this to be successful.
Now, a minute still left on the board, and RVK is actually going to be on the rooftop still. He's the one that will use the Twitch drone to open up the mirror window. Docky still trying to hold down the fort here inside of offices, but it looks as though the push from Pain Gaming will be onto that west balcony. We saw the wall get opened up. We do have RVK trying to get back to that east balcony now, trying to lay down some cover.
The Thermite did get downed, however, he is going to be able to get himself safe. There is no point notification in Pro League, which means that it's likely the smoke does not know he downed the Thermite at all.
Now, fortunately for Wags, that gas grenade will give him a little bit of cover to get on over towards Mans and pick him up. That's going to be 50 health left back on the Thermite. 20 seconds left to go. Noted is going to have to swing on in as Mans and Wags are going to force their way onto the east balcony. Still a 5-on-5. Plenty of people left to go. Flashbang's going to toss out, and Wag picks up that first kill. Diffuser's still going to get planted, though, in 10 seconds, because I don't think everyone's going to get finished off, but it's a 4-on-5, 8 seconds left to go. Plant will go down, most likely here by Mans as he goes right underneath the mirror window. Spawns and RVK going to take down Drix and Doc as Panico will fall to Spawns. We're going to have RVK starting coming from behind, and he will tag that kill onto Slash. And Pain instantly just annihilating the 4 remaining defenders, and they will take round number 4.
What a collapse from Pain, locking out that 4th round. Like you said, I mean, now we're on an even matched score. I mean, we were looking at a 2-0 situation from OPK. Pain has brought it back. And what we were talking about earlier, that late round aggression coming out from Pain Gaming. The last 15 seconds in this instance, and they start making their push. I mean, that is just risky business, but it worked out for Pain Gaming nonetheless.
I think like you talked about, the last 15 seconds they made for that push, one of the key ingredients of that was the fact that they had RVK on the east balcony undetected not the entire time, but at the very end.
He came in for
that flank.
He was basically neglected, right? Because, I mean, everyone else is like, oh, A-wall, we have to look at the A-wall. They opened up our mirror. Everybody stack up on the A-wall. So, yeah, having that late flank is important, but I think most of the other players just kind of died before even RVK managed to secure that last kill. And the diffuser plant would have gone down before the timer ran out, so it's okay. You know, but all the same, it was good that he was there to be able to lock it out, just to deny any sort of clutch potential. And if it were that OPK put up much more of a fight, I think he would have played a bigger role in that round. Ventilation now being defended by Pain Gaming. First time they've been here is their second defense option coming out here in Border.
See a toss out by RVK, tossing the Valkyrie camera out towards that northeast location.
So we saw OPK successfully defend ventilation. Will we be able to see Pain Gaming successfully defend ventilation? It's a different site than Armory in very many different ways. Of course, they are on top of one's on top of the other, so you could say they're similar in that sense. However, the way that you actually have to hold this site is just very vastly different. You have to either A, play above, B, play extremely aggressive on your roam game towards the stairs, try and pick off people as the attackers progress in through above, or C, just try to maintain control over the top of the entire map. And that looks like what Pain is trying to do.
Get that wallbang headshot onto Spawns, though, early on, taking out the pulse. Now, thing to note here about Pain Gaming, there's only one roamer, and he's above. Looks like it's going to be Wags, and a couple shots from Intact will drop him down to about 10 health, and 40 health left on the board here for Intact after that engagement. A very quick very quick skirmish here. Noted still looking for the shots there. Slash not paying attention, and that will be 1 kill for Noted this round. Taking out the Twitch drone, meaning the mirror windows are most likely still alive and useful.
Now OPK are looking to try and take control of CCTV as they know there are plenty of Pain Gaming players down in the customs office. They're also applying pressure through this east wall in customs to try and get lines of sight onto Noted as he plays in there. But it looks like Noted has just fallen back to the site as there's only a minute 20 left to go. Now a 4-on-4, the defenders do not need to contest customs any longer, especially when they have a smoke above.
Yeah, Wags is going to fall down, though. He's got about, like you said, 15 health. Noted's got about 10. However, Drix looking like he might try to go through the hole earlier made by Sledge. Oh, Wags saw the opportunity, and now he's going to go for it. He's coming on through the Sledge intended hole.
Do it.
He peeks on out, and he sees him, tags him, but doesn't get the kill. And that will leave Daki 5 health left, bleeding for his life. 40 seconds left to go on the board here.
You can see OPK have spread out very significantly. They have taken control of CCTV, but it will be for naught as there is no longer a smoke playing in there, nor anyone playing in customs. Smoke is being caught out here by Daki, as Daki, or actually no, apparently. Daki is progressing his way over to the doorway, but gets picked off.
Now RVK finds the shot onto Intact as RVK's head, and then in return gets taken out by Drix. Now a 3-on-2 as Drix will finally fall here to Wags. You still have Daki, who's been very much hurt, but Wags and Noted are the last two alive. They've got very low health, so Panico could get this with a single clip, and it looks like Noted and Wag will get the clutch here to give Pain Gaming the lead after round number 5.
Some great positioning there from Wag to keep his team in that round. They did kind of lose the early game, get a little bit players picked off, or a couple players picked off the board, or, and not really get the trade backs. But Wag managed to maintain control over customs long after it had been lost to Pain Gaming. Pain Gaming, because of that, bring themselves onto 3-2 now, the first time they've had a lead in this match. They're going to be going on to attack. OPK defending Armory. They were unsuccessful in their last attempt on this particular bomb site, and it was due to a nice attack coming out from Pain Gaming, as well as a distinct lack of control of CCTV coming up from OPK. I mean, the Pain Gaming, the last Pain Gaming attack could be almost all attributed to that Twitch. Sure, the Twitch applied a lot of pressure from behind, but more importantly, she opened up that A-wall mirror window, which just opens up so many avenues for Pain Gaming going into their attack. You can see here, Noted with that drone in the atrium is going to be clearing out pretty much the same exact way he has been every single one of these rounds, going for those roamers early on to get those options open on the board for Pain Gaming. The faster you clear the roamers, the faster that you make your attack onto the site happen is the policy of a lot of teams, and it seems like Pain Gaming is one of those teams that employs just that policy.
So what we are seeing here from OPK is going to be a 5-man topside defense. No one's going to be roaming underneath as of yet, but they have opened up a multiple drop hatch, so they can rotate should they need to.
Right you are, and Pain Gaming now just hunting down those roamers as we talked about earlier. They're not really doing anything too much more aggressive than that, and they don't rightly need to. As soon as you make sure that there are no roamers on the first floor, you can start to progress your way onto the drop downs that you talked about that are open for these guys. You see Intact is going to get lit up by spawns through the drop down. And this is what we're talking about. Not only are you clearing out the roamers, but you're also applying pressure to the would-be roamers by holding those drop downs, possibly getting a couple kills through the drop downs. There's good angles that get opened up when you for the attackers when you have those open. Those drops open, that is.
Looks as though Intact, after taking a couple scrapes and bruises, will back away and then try to re-engage here as Spawns goes for a more aggressive peek up the hallway, or up the drop hatch. Now, outside of the window is going to be Wag. He's actually going to fall on out of here, and Intact might go for the peek. Taking a look, doesn't see him though, and he'll get back in safe and sound.
That was some very aggressive play coming out from Attack. really confident there that he was going to win that fight, but no one actually engaged him. Looks like Pain Gaming, after clearing out the roamers, are trying to progress their way now onto offices. That's going to be their next point of contention. They have opened up the mirror window, which is going to give them a lot of options, but they're going to have to contest a Drix and a Doxy, or a Docky at the same time.
Now, time and time again, we've seen this dwindle down the time, and we're still a 5-on-5. Looks like we will have more of this get opened up here, more of the wall. Noted, though, gets the first kill of the round there onto Docky. That's going to be the Valkyrie out for the count. Now, INTZ tries to go for the peak there onto Wag on the west balcony or the east balcony. He will fall as Drix gets a double kill into RVK and Noted. Panico would take down Spawns, and there's only 2 members left from Pain Gaming. It's going to be Wag and Mans. Flashbang going to come out of Drix, and although it doesn't blind him all the way, it does give him the upper hand as Mans gets that kill there. Now looking around here, it looks as though Panico tried tagging a couple shots there onto Mans from that east stairwell. Wag will take him down as the last shot alive is going to go with Slash on defense. He's going to go for this kill there onto Mans, but it won't happen just yet. Mans takes massive damage in return as Slash walks out of that skirmish without 0 damage being done to him. We do have Mans working his way forward. Plant does go down. Wag's going to come out of the fountain, goes for the shots around his Slash, but misses his target. There's a little bit of potato, but he does come out on top. Goes for one, but misses the second kill, and Mans comes out there. Pain Gaming going up 4-2.
Slash was incredibly close to clutching out that round. Unfortunately, he got crouched on. The Thermite barely dodging those bullets and managing to lock things out there. Thermite was on technically not 1 HP, mind you, but he would have died to 1 single bullet. So that was very close. A nice attempt there from Slash. So the take overall coming from Pain Gaming was clear out all of the roamers on the first floor, establish control over the drop-downs from below, then progress way into offices. And oftentimes you don't see a lot of teams actually try to clear out those roamers when they're doing an office take. They just kind of just go for the office take. But I like the thoroughness of Pain Gaming to go through all of the necessary steps. And sure, yes, it is causing us to come down to the last couple seconds in each of these rounds. However, it's working out for them now as they have come back from a 2-0 deficit to a 4-2 lead.
It's looking like this might be a Pain Gaming momentum shift. You just said they come back from a 2-0 deficit. They're now just made their push, and they're in the lead by 2 points now.
Right.
So with that being said, just judging by the momentum of the game, if you're basing this off the momentum, it looks as though this final round might go in the hands of Pain Gaming. But again, we're up here with Pain trying to hold on to the top floor, which they did not do successfully their first attempt.
Yeah, they were unsuccessful here their first attempt. I believe they got the second one down. But, yeah, no, I mean, we'll see exactly how they choose to handle this. OPK, more importantly, how are they going to attack this side? It's likely that they're going to go for that office's take, try to push their way in through just the office, you guessed it, and then go into the B bomb site. That's what we have been seeing time and time again from both of these two teams. No one has really tried to focus on the A except for Pain Gaming earlier in the match. I think he did 1 round they focused on A, possibly 2. Regardless, it has been mostly offices focused in the majority of the match. So OPK now have established control over the east stairs, and they even have somebody way out west on top of one of the buildings looking for those lines of sight. That's what they're looking for there. The reason he's there is he's looking to cut off rotations from CCTV back into the A bomb site, because there's a brief window when someone running from that on that sprint exposes themselves, and he's just looking for that angle. But it did not happen, and as such, he will get off of it. Pain Gaming nearly lost RVK there to Slash shooting through the wall, but I think he's behind a locker.
And we will have one enemy detected outside. It looks as though we're going to have Noted get tagged a little bit, but Wags will be the first man down as INTZ takes on 2 kills onto Noted and Wags. Dropping them both down for the count. A minute 40 to go here. So plenty of time. Now INTZ has been injured. He's down but not out at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Pain Gaming is going to try and secure that kill, which means it is likely INTZ will get picked up, which means we are dealing with a 3 versus 5. It's like they probably did not know that he was down. There's no way for them to really tell sometimes in some certain situations. Regardless, would have been a risk to try and go for the kill either way. Now with a minute left to go, Pain Gaming 3 versus 5 have to hold out for 70 seconds.
And what I do like seeing here from OPK is they use their initial set of drones to drone out their, we'll call it first wave attack. They've now gotten 2 kills. You saw them hop back onto the drones and then continue pushing forward. They've gotten their next wave of attack already underway. Slash is moving on into the office here, so now he's going to be moving forward. Spawns, though, he will have a couple shots opened up to the side. He gets 1 to the chest and 2 to the Two to the side, and he'll be taken on down
Oh,
as RVK,
RVK.
though, comes on swinging and through the west stairwell to take out Panico and Docky. A 3-on-2, he gets back into the middle site now, along with his other partner here of Mand. And this is looking very good here for Payne, or at least it was, until Man gets dropped by Intact. That's a 3K for him. He could get over here and drop the 4K onto RVK, who's coming on in from the main stair, or the middle stairwell, the middle hallway into Archives. A couple more pop shots going his way with 15 seconds to go. Diffuser going to go for the plant. He is constantly being detected by a camera drone. You can hear that shots now. Drix going to come around from the middle hallway, and RVK will fall. And this is going to be OPK saying they're not out just yet.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt there from that Bandit to try and bring themselves back, or try to bring Pain Gaming back into that round and lock out the map. But unfortunately, he left himself exposed to 3 different angles, and he just kind of stayed there and waited patiently for Drix to come up from the hallway and get that last frag. Overall, Pain Gaming probably lost that round more importantly because their office hold did almost nothing. They didn't have reinforcements on the fountain, which means the player playing behind the fountain wall was completely exposed to the buck. More importantly, they lost 2 players in office itself early into the round, and they were unable to actually help the round at all. So it was essentially a 2 versus 5, and then the last one again, that I'm not sure who it was, I think it was Amira, the last player on Pain, or the second to last player on Pain, Amira.
Yes.
Just didn't get any kills, just kind of died. So it was all basically down to RVK, and he wasn't able to get the ace. So now, Pain Gaming going on to attack, trying to keep themselves out of overtime. They're going to be attacking onto Ventilation. They have been unsuccessful thus far attacking this particular bomb site. They've lost it twice now, I believe. It's been the majority of OPK's successes on this site. So this is OPK's chance right here to bring it to OT. They have a good deal of, they have a good chance of it. Very good chance of it.
We'll see the castle barricade come on out and just lock out the fountain push for the time being. Now, the last time that we saw OPK up here on this site, we actually, what I recalled hearing or seeing was Noted had pushed into Fountain, used his Ash breaching charge on the castle barricade instead of the soft wall to the left or to the right. Do you find it more beneficial to have that castle wall destroyed or to use it as a potential cover in case you do get into an engagement and not get wallbanged through a soft wall?
Either or. I mean, you can't really hate the guy for using it on a castle barricade instead of a soft wall.
Thinking about it there again.
It kind of makes sense at the same time. I think you're right. You kind of have a point. You could have used it on one of the unreinforced wall. So meanwhile, however, the sledge is going to get picked off by Intact. That's the smoke playing in between lockers. That's sandwich for you, those of you who don't know. And yeah, no, that's going to be a good start for OPK right off the bat here.
Now we do have Wag trying to open up the west wall, and Tac's going to have to relocate at the moment. He's calling it out that it's going to be opened up. Now that is large enough. That's all 3 Hibana charges that are going to be opening up the wall there. So that will be enough to actually go through, not just look through.
Yeah, and you can see how much utility exactly OPK has invested in this top floor. Both their mirror windows, tons of barbed wire, plenty of bandits, lots of reinforcements. And Pain Gaming are trying to challenge directly onto it. And it's very risky that. They have actually made a rotation though. Looks like they are going to be pushing their way in through Tellers, maybe into the A bomb site. There's not a lot that OPK can do to stop this exact push. Now that the wall has been open, other than just play in the site, try to utilize the dark spots to challenge onto the attackers as they progress their way into the hole.
Slash is going to go for the push there onto Mans and tags him with a couple bullets, but is not going to walk away unscathed.
There is still a Docky playing in the bathroom, which means Mans, while he has opened up that wall, cannot get aggressive onto it. Because of the castle barricade there, it's kind of stopping him cold.
Looks as though RVK playing the Twitch will use that F2 to finish off Drix for the count. Wang going to take down Slash, and then RVK gets traded by Intact. Man's going to push on in, though, and finish off Docky as the shotgun comes out of Intact for a second kill onto Wags. Noted, though, will jump to the hatch and grab the double kill for the final moments there. Pain Gaming going to take map number 2, Series 2-0.
Well played to Pain Gaming there, and good positioning from Noted to sprint through that drop down at just the right moment after they had taken control of top floor, and they knew that those last 2 players were downstairs and exposed. Pain Gaming able to lock it out, not get it into overtime or a third map. Very well played to them, and also admirable play to OPK, putting up one heck of a fight.
I definitely agree with that. I think OPK came out, they seemed much more prepared and ready for the fight on border than they did on consulate. Unfortunately for OPK, though, that's an 0-2 for them, and they're going to head down to the losers bracket.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the one thing to note about today's play matchups is that both the losing teams do have another chance to bring it back. They're not out of the Pro League. Our winner teams, however, will move into the winner bracket, which gives them a lot of more of an advantage moving into the later ends of the Pro League.
Yeah, if you can guarantee yourself 2 straight wins, then ultimately that means, hey, you've guaranteed your spot into the playoffs to then make it to land.
And you have a good chance of winning the playoffs too, because I mean, you get the good
seed. Better seed.
Yeah.
But we will possibly get underway with highlights here momentarily. Now, if we think about that match on Border, we think about, okay, OPK, they decided to take their first defensive round downstairs to ventilation and workshop. They were successful at it. When it came time to playing defense again, they had to go upstairs. They lost it. Their third defensive round, they chose to go back upstairs, I think, for a second time. I don't remember them going downstairs. Do you recall?
I think they went downstairs and they won it twice.
Okay.
That OPK had the most success downstairs in the ventilation defense. I think that was the first time that they actually lost it. There was a bit of a clutch play coming out from Drix on their second time defending it. And overall, it was good on OPK for that ventilation hold. It was really interesting that they prefer that site to the armory. So, I mean, it's a little bit different, but hey, if it works for you, it works for you, right?
It seemed to work for them, or at least a portion of it. A little bit.
Yeah, they were successful in defending ventilation for the most part. For the most part, except for that last round where it really mattered.
When it came time to it, though, Pain Gaming laid down the pedal to the metal and ended up winning that round. But while we don't necessarily have highlights for you, we're going to take a look at the brackets. So let's take a look at bracket B. Actually, no, we do have highlights now. They are about to appear on your screen at the moment. Border. This is going to be that early round number 1 triple kill from Slash.
Yeah, and that was a really good triple kill. I mean, if it weren't for that, it would have likely been a Pain Gaming round. The way that the Pain Gaming had exerted their control, they had full dominance over the entire map, and they had the numbers as well as defense. That all that the attackers really had was office control and the B doorway. Making that push happen with that glass really opened things up for his team.
Now again, here's that flank from RVK at the last moment to grab the double kill and the round-winning shot there from what was a 5-on-4 with 15 seconds left to go in the round.
Really like that shot there from Intact on the spawns. Good game sense to shoot him through the wall. Noted playing very aggressively in customs here, as you can see. I mean, we've all seen these before, and they were really nice frags, definitely. I think overall this matchup did kind of play out how we expected it to. It was a lot slower paced than I thought it was. So I say slower paced. I know you're like, what are you talking about, Kickstar? What I mean by that is that while there was some explosive play, it was all towards the end of the round. Almost every attack round came down to the last couple seconds on that map, especially that map. Even the previous map, between these two teams, they were very cautious on attack, very cautious on defense until the last couple seconds.
But I think what that comes to is the fact that we talked about it before, that Pain Gaming relies a lot on their ability to win gunfights, especially noted. So if you can dwindle down the time to allow yourself to then basically go off of instinct and not strategy, go off of your your gameplay, Pain Gaming was putting themselves in the advantage there.
Yeah, in a sense.
So that is going to be it. Let's take a look at our group bracket B, our group B brackets here. Now, this is the 2 series that we just watched. Black Dragons coming out on top over INTZ 2-0, and Pain Gaming as well coming out over top on OPK 2-0. That's going to leave Black Dragons and Pain Gaming to head into the winners match for Group B, as the losers match will compose of INTZ and OPK.
Yeah, Black Dragons versus Pain Gaming is going to be quite the match. Let me just say that right off the bat. Both of those two teams played exceptionally well today. Black Dragons seem to be a little bit more at the forefront of the meta overall. We saw some similar maps played, and some of the things that Black Dragons were doing were a little bit more, just new. But at the same time, very, I'd say just concrete play coming out from Pain Gaming compensated for that on their end.
I believe you are correct. Now let's take a look back at Group A, just so you guys can get a refresher. We showed it at the beginning. We'll show it again here, just so you know, okay, who's in the losers matches, who's in the winners matches for both of the groups here for the Latin American Pro League. Now we have BRK and Santos Dexterity in the winners, as the losers match will comprise of the Merciless Gaming and Nox Gaming.
Yeah, BRK Esports, of course, is the Black Dragons of old, I believe, and they were the ones who got into the finals at the previous season. So they are a team to be reckoned, or not to be reckoned with. Santos Dexterity equally, they were the team that got to play at the Invitational, and I think they've retained 3 of their 5 players from that Invitational, so they're a pretty similar team overall. Panico, the player we just saw playing for, I believe it was just earlier in the previous matchup, was actually on Santos Dexterity, I believe it previously, but you know, it's a little bit of rotation, tiny bit, but
little bit of rotation.
For the most part, Dexterity still retained their roster. So both of those 2 winner bracket matches are going to be crazy.
They are. And speaking of crazy, we also have later on this week, Thursday evening is going to be the play day number 2, Group B. The first time we're going to see Group B playing for the European Pro League. So again, every Monday night for the next few weeks, was it 6 weeks or so, we've got the North American Pro League starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 a.m. Central European Time. We've got every Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Central European Time, is going to be the Latin American Pro League. And then 2 days from now, starting at 7 p.m. Central European Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Time, is going to be the European Pro League. So guys, if you do want to watch some more Pro League, be sure to tune in 2 days from now to watch some of your favorite European teams go head-to-head.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite a day, too, because we haven't seen
Sisu.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone in the B bracket, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for joining us on this Latin American Pro League day. Tune in 2 days from now to watch the European Pro League. And other than that, we want to wish you a farewell and a good night, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.
Adios.